I sold my soul to the bottle. Still none of my friends have left me yet. I'm the same man I was at the age of 13, and I've lived my life with no regrets. If you're looking for some freedom, all it takes is 10 drinks minimum. If you're looking for rhyme or reason, all it takes is 10 drinks minimum.
Boom. It's the last party of the weekend. I am your host, Chris Burnett. This is 10 Drink Minimum, sponsored by One Topo Chico Seltzer, the hard seltzer. Do you know this is a hard seltzer, Smiley?
I did.
Oh, all right.
I'm well aware of that.
Yeah.
Because we go through someone different if it was the non-hard seltzer.
Oh, that's true. James Smiley is with us.
I am here. I will be drinking Topo Chico. I'm
Yeah, what's going on with you?
drinking something else right here.
What's wrong with you?
Nothing. It's delicious and it was in my fridge, but we're not sponsored by them. I'm having it.
No, I moved away so people didn't
nice.
see it. So they can't see what you're doing over there. Nobody needs to see that. We have a special guest, someone we've had on the show before. They've never been in the studio present with us as we, in the studio, right? They've never been with us.
No.
She was here when she did a podcast with us during the pandemic.
Oh, okay.
And we didn't really know her that well. So we were kind of like timid, I think, when we interviewed her.
Okay.
We were really nice about everything, I think. But
well, our pandemic shows were a lot about just keeping us entertained.
Yeah, that's true. That's a very fair point. But we have with us Albuquerque's own super agent from Mitchell and Associates Talent, Carissa Mitchell.
Hello.
Welcome.
I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah?
I feel like I'm kind of with the cool kids now, finally.
Why?
Finally.
Why would you say finally with the cool kids?
I don't know. You
Yeah.
guys are pretty cool.
Are we?
Yes, you are.
I have a weird. So I want people to understand something about me. Is like I know that like I've had people tell me, they're like, yeah, you're an intimidating guy, and I don't want to come off that way. And then because of it, like sometimes people won't come up and talk to me, and it makes me sad.
I think it's your nonchalance. It's like you're like just sort of like, yeah, this is cool. I don't really care.
I could give a
and
fuck.
Then and then you're like, no, I want to impress you now.
Yeah. Dang.
We are the cool kids.
She is a talent agent. She knows everything that's happening around her at all times.
So that makes me want to just talk and impress you. So.
Oh, damn. Impress me. You're the talent agent. We have to impress you. You're the one with all the contracts.
Oh, I've got all the power, all of it.
All the power. It's really funny though, because like I've been in conversations with people, and they're like, "You do that cabaret show, right?" And everyone either thinks it's like a burlesque cabaret, or it's only drag queens, and it's like no, it's like all different kinds of talent. But everybody goes, "You judge it with Carissa Mitchell, the talent agent?" And I'm like, "Yeah." They're like, "Everyone wants her to be their agent."
Oh
and
my God.
and I laugh, and I'm like, "Oh dang, and I forget like about that,
Because we're just having fun on Saturday nights.
Yeah, we're just having a good time.
Yeah.
And like, first of all, does that happen a lot where people like they come around you and they're like, hey, like they kind of maneuver near you?
Oh yeah, and one of the things we can talk about this later, but one of the post-pandemic sort of is before the pandemic, I would go somewhere and there's a little bit of an ego stroke to it, just a tiny bit, but I would go somewhere and people are just like standing there staring at me like I want to talk to her, and I'm like, hello. And then I have to kind of like set my sights on that person and look them in the eyes and say, hi, what can I do for you?
Yeah.
What questions do you have for me? Oh, the same questions that everyone has that I just spoke at the panel about, yeah. Okay.
Right.
But let's talk about it. But it's an interesting thing because I think there's a lot of misconceptions about agents and what agents can do and what agents are supposed to do.
Well, and
we can talk about that.
Well, there's different kinds of agents too.
Absolutely.
I learned this. I mean, like, I do a lot of the Comic Cons, and there's like the con agent.
Yes. Celebrity appearance
Yes. Agent. Sorry.
Yes.
But it's mostly cons now, right? I mean, it's got to be. Well, I guess there's more than that. There's like, sometimes comic book stores will bring in people, or what always drives me crazy is people are like, Sean Patrick Flannery's at the Comic Con. Why is he there? He's not comic book. And it's like they're not just comic books anymore. It's like basically they should be called like pop culture cons.
Pop culture cons.
Really what they should be called.
Right,
but like so, and then there's agent for like TV and film. And I'm sure
theatrical.
Theatrical.
And then there's literary agents and music agents and, directing and producing and writing, all of that. And I get a lot of calls every day, especially, because we here in New Mexico where I live, even though I work in lots of different markets.
Right.
People are like, well, how do I get my script to Netflix, which is just down the street?
Right.
And it doesn't work that way.
That's not how it works. It's got to go
No.
through. It's got to go through all of the channels.
Right.
It's just not how it works.
But I kind of feel like maybe I missed my calling and I should have been a celebrity appearance agent as well, because those people make a lot of money in a weekend.
They do. Yeah, they do.
Lot.
Oh, yeah. Like I'm not gonna say who I was with, but there was a celebrity, and they were only at a con on a Friday.
Just the one day of the weekend.
The worst day.
Right.
Like no one goes on Friday, right? Like for real. Like
Saturday
is like the day. That's the meat. That's like the big one. Sunday's like not as big as Saturday, but it's also big. But Friday, because Friday you don't start till like 5 in the afternoon, and then a lot of them by like 7 o'clock the celebrities are like kind of packing up, gonna go eat. This dude only was there Friday. Took a 1 hour break and we did a panel for them. Then they went from 5 to 10, had a 1 hour break, and I think they said they made like 10 grand.
See, I'm in the wrong I'm in the wrong wing of this.
And I'm like, dude, 10 grand in an evening. Like if he would have been there Saturday, I would 25 maybe.
Yeah.
Who knows?
I mean, I represent actors that make that in a weekend in their con appearances.
Little Bobby Tucker says, "Yo, the talking hours for the win." I think you're listening to the wrong one.
That was last week.
That was last week.
It was awesome.
This week, Bobby, we're learning how to get an agent, which may be something you should listen to. I'm just kidding.
Stay on topic.
So you're a theatrical
agent. Yes, I represent actors for film, television, and some commercials.
Oh, wow.
Speaking of, I should also be in that market in LA and stuff, but
the commercial
market is a totally different animal.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah. And there's a lot of money to be had there too. So I just feel like I just always pick the wrong branch.
I think I'm very marketable in Japan.
You think so?
Yeah.
He's all, I think so.
I think
you
so.
and Bill Murray.
So.
Me and Bill Murray, right? Sylvester Stallone. Well, I mean, P. Diddy's no longer doing the commercials.
Boy.
That's over with, right? I mean, it might be that Johnson & Johnson commercial, right?
The photos of the baby oil? I don't even know.
Man. So how did you become an agent? I'm sure we talked about this on the last one, but people don't go back and listen to shit.
Well, it's a long journey that brought me here, but I feel like.
Did you want to be an agent?
No.
Were you watching like Entourage and you're like, yes?
No. I mean, this goes back to I went to the University of Wisconsin-Madison.
Oh, shit.
And my parents are from LA. My parents were cool cats
LA.
in the 60s.
Yeah.
My dad worked for IBM when IBM was the size of an office building.
Oh, wow.
In the 60s. And my mom went to Pepperdine, and they were cool LA people.
It sounds like it.
And then my dad got shipped off to Wisconsin. Wisconsin was the first state to computerize their power grid.
Oh.
And so it was supposed to be a 1-year gig. And they stayed 40 years in Wisconsin. And so I grew up there and went to college there.
When you say Wisconsin, I hear it.
Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it comes out. But they also kind of were ready to leave LA. And so when I was going to school, like high school, this was before IMDb. I don't know if you guys remember Leonard Maltin's movie book.
Yes, I do.
Right? It's like this 3-inch wide, book of like, what was Al Pacino in, and who directed what. And I learned a lot by watching movies and then going in and learning, that Martin Scorsese used the same actors a lot, and certain actors were in the same director's movies. And so I started to kind of become a student of mostly actors and directors. Who were the groups of people that kind of collected together to make movies. And then you'd know that you'd always see Steve Buscemi in certain movies, and you'd see, you and
I both, like, it was when I was younger as well. Like, I would be like, okay, this guy has these certain people in his movies, like Adam Sandler, for one.
Exactly.
Has all his friends.
I'm a little older than Adam Sandler, so that it did come to mind, though.
But you see these people, and like Scorsese, and then like, it's so weird how only certain people of us notice that, and then like there's a whole population of people who just
what
oblivious to it.
But sorry. Adam Sandler is a really good example because he has brought his friends with him and created
Kevin Smith.
Yes, Kevin Smith as well. So I really loved movie trivia, and things like that, and then University of Wisconsin-Madison has a very thriving PBS culture there. A big PBS public broadcast. And so I kind of thought I wanted to go into producing for PBS. That's what I aspired to as a high school student going into the University of Wisconsin. And my parents basically said no. They said no.
Wow.
We left Hollywood and we left LA, and we think that that's where you're headed if you do this, and we don't want you to go there.
Really?
Yeah. And very religious, very,
Your family became, like, they left LA and became religious, or they were religious?
I think they were religious before that. They went to Pat Boone's church in LA. He's like an old Christian singer.
Pat Boone wasn't, though. He kind of was. Okay.
They went to Pat Boone's Church of Christ in LA.
I know who Pat Boone is.
Yeah, okay.
So White belt. Did you ever see like his final album?
Oh yeah. I mean, he took some departures at the end, and
do you know who Pat Boone is?
Yes, I know.
Okay. Do you know anything about his final album?
No.
He did an album called In a Metal Mood.
That's right.
And on the cover, Pat Boone is all in leather. Studded leather.
I can see it. I can see it in my head.
And he covered all metal songs, but as Pat Boone.
I remember
He's
this
like,
now.
Exit life, yeah. Into night, yeah.
No, he was a cool cat towards the end for sure. But anyway, they talked me out of it. We could talk about, Pat Boone and Church of Christ in East Hollywood if you want to, but they steered me. And it's not even, I look back and I'm like, it cost, I think tuition was like $500 a semester, and I was living at home. So it wasn't like they were like, we're giving you this $30,000 a year education and you have to do what we have to say. But things were different then. So I went into graphic design and fine art. It was a different time. So I went into graphic design and art photography, and got my degree in that. And this is hilarious because it was before computers.
Right.
They were literally carting in the computers as I was graduating, and I got a graphic design degree. So I learned how to do like typography and like cut and paste. Young children, cut and paste comes from actually cutting and pasting.
Right.
With an X-Acto knife and glue and stuff like that, and you would have to take it to the printer. And so I did a lot of corporate design, logo design, newsletters, boring prospectus of colleges and things, and had a pretty good run of it, and worked for Ithaca College for a long time out in New York, and did all their alumni relations stuff. And so I had a really good time doing it. Made it to New Mexico, had a bunch of kids.
Why? Whoa.
Yada, yada.
Slow down there. So why would you have left Ithaca, New York for New Mexico?
Well, because I married a person who went to Cornell.
Okay.
And got a PhD in math, and then
he did, or you did?
He did. I did not. I remember art. I'm an art.
Right.
And first job out of Cornell was at the labs.
Oh.
So that's why we made it to New Mexico. Funny story. The only thing I was excited, I'd never been to New Mexico before we rolled in and moved here. I was just very excited it had a Target.
Oh, okay.
This is 1992. So I was very excited about having a Target in Albuquerque.
Was there just one?
No, there was more than one, I think, but I had never lived anywhere where there was a Target. So.
You know what? When I moved up here, I was very excited. I'd only had Walmart.
Yeah, we had Walmart.
And I was very excited for Target.
Yeah.
So I feel exactly.
You got
I understand. If you live in a small town where there isn't a Target, you're poor and disgusting, and we don't like you. No, I'm
Yeah,
just
Right.
kidding.
I grew up here, so I was
I'm
like, I
just
don't
kidding.
know. There's always been a Target, like ever since
Yeah.
there was Target.
Right.
Well, so the big rivalry between Madison, Wisconsin and Milwaukee, Wisconsin, we all hate each other for some reason, and I'm not even sure I have ever learned why we hated each other. But they had a Target in Milwaukee, and we had a Walmart.
Those son of a bitches.
Yeah, but I didn't know. Side note, I didn't know that growing up in Wisconsin that I was a little blue dot in the middle of a red state.
Oh.
I thought I was a pretty cool, cosmopolitan sort of kid growing up in the big city. Didn't have, even though I knew that there were dairy farms within 5 minutes of my house.
Did you vacation in the Wisconsin Dells?
No, we went up into the Door County.
Oh.
Wisconsin Dells was very touristy.
Ah.
But we would go up into Lake Michigan and, as a kid, go swimming in like 50-degree water. Now I can't even
God.
get in anything that's, below like 85.
Jeez,
But
Louise.
we would swim in Lake Michigan. But my parents for some reason always turned their nose down at the Dells with the duck boats and all of that. They were like, "Oh, that's very touristy."
That's tourist crap. That's what did my parents always say? That's it's a tourist trap.
Yeah, tourist
It's a
trap.
tourist trap. Yeah. It's I always thought the words tourist trap were like this evil
Yeah,
thing.
it's bad.
It's a tourist trap. Put that shit back. It's junk.
Yeah, but it has my name on it.
Yeah.
A jackknife.
Yes.
It
yes.
never had my name.
No.
I'm sure they had lots of Chris's.
Yeah, we had this. I had this conversation last night. Because I was over at the after party for Funny Fiesta, and they were doing karaoke, and they're all, "We have up for Chris," and I didn't sign up. And everybody kept looking at me. I was like, "I'm sure there's another Chris here."
who's willing to sing.
Yeah, and it was, of course, another person, and everyone's like, "Oh wow, how often does that happen?" I was like, "Pretty much
Every day.
all the fucking time."
Right.
You know?
Well, my name is never on any of that stuff ever.
And it's not
never.
even my real name. So
Yeah, yeah. Oh, it.
Yeah, no, I'm the only person on the show that uses his real name.
Well, it's just the two of us. Yeah,
Oh, you
Well,
guys.
yeah,
it's my middle name.
It is.
even in the past though.
Well, what's your
Yeah.
first name?
I don't know.
Oh, is that a thing? Oh man.
It's not. It's also as generic as it can be. It's Michael.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay.
it's like it was either Mike or Chris. Which one? Which fucking generic name do you want? Girl, same, right? Arella says she
Girls
can never.
name. Oh,
never-
Aurelius. I could do something on my cricket for you. That's kind of
Yeah.
a fun thing to
What's
do.
a cricket?
Oh no! Are you kidding me? How much time do we have?
I've heard of these.
A cricket is a vinyl cutting machine.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
I knew it because Tammy.
Yes,
our friend
Tammy-
Tammy to Get Signed
yes.
does all the good stuff for us.
And if you want stickers, she's a place to
Yeah,
go.
that is-
And you know what
place to go.
sucks? I need stickers now, and she's out of the country.
She's out of the country. I saw that.
because it's her birthday.
She's in Barcelona. In Spain. She went to
very
see the
nice.
Sagrada Familia.
Yeah,
Ugh, so great.
yeah, but so you
We're talking
moved-
about stickers all of a sudden. I
Yeah,
don't know.
I have some extra stickers in my backpack if you really need some.
No, we need them for when we go to Chicago.
Oh yeah, I don't have enough for that.
I do love stickers.
No, but
Okay, so came to
Yeah.
came to Albuquerque, raised a bunch of kids, and sort of gave up on this dream, a little bit, and then my kids were getting older, and less dependent on me, which is
Right.
the point of having children, is for them to not become dependent on you, but
Right.
to get less dependent on
you
you.
would think that, right? It seems like
know.
a weird thing
Yeah.
nowadays where people are like, well, and it's an odd thing because like most countries in the world aren't like that.
No,
Like
no.
the family always stays together,
right,
like,
and
grandparent,
grandma, yeah.
and I feel like in our country it's starting to become like that. It's like, oh,
It is coming that way again, and I intend on being in my kids and grandchildren's lives
Uh-oh.
daily.
Very
Nice.
nice.
In fact, I have to go to babysit a 1-year-old because his parents are going to see Hozier Hosier.
Hosier.
How do you say it?
Hosier.
It is Hoser.
Yes.
Is that tonight?
It's
somewhere?
tonight.
Where?
Yeah, at the Mesa, whatever they're calling
Isleta.
it. Isleta. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, I didn't
Yeah.
even hear about that.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Yeah.
So, funny story. I'm a side story person. So I didn't know he was Irish,
Yeah.
but then I heard him do some kind of like Irish whiskey
Yeah.
commercial or something. And I was like, oh yeah, he's Irish.
This is a very side story kind of show. So.
Oh,
yeah.
good. I love it.
Feel
I love
free.
it. I love it. Anyway, so I get to go see Jonas after this, which I'm.
Does he say, "My name is Jonas"?
No, he doesn't.
Carrying the way. Thanks for all you've shown us. Oh. Come sit next to me. It's one of my favorite Weezer songs
Oh
ever.
my god.
So
I think it's from The Giver, but
yeah.
not the Jonas Brothers.
Oh no. So your kids all grew up.
Oh yeah, so they started growing up. Also, side note, it's people are like, "Oh, are your kids in the industry? Are they in the film industry?" And it's really disappointing. They all have like advanced degrees in like medical and
Oh, yeah.
Real
jobs.
Yeah, and like, my daughter's a school psychologist and the other one's an occupational therapist and my son's a dentist. So, I'm like,
Everyone
could anybody
disappoints their
I
parents
know
in some way.
they're not and then I was like, does anyone want to work in the airline industry? Because I could really use somebody in the family in the airline industry.
The dental one's pretty good.
I know, but yeah, it's a joke. But I'm very proud of my kids, and they are doing a good job of being adults. And so all of a sudden, you start driving around Albuquerque, and you see these yellow signs all over the place, and you're like, what are these yellow signs with
Right.
arrows? And people are like, oh no, they're filming that show Breaking Bad is filming here,
Right.
And there's all sorts of things filming here, and so I was like, interesting. Everywhere, and then you start seeing the white trucks, and then you start noticing everything.
The Star Wagons.
The Star Wagons and the trucks and all those people with tape on a little string on there.
They just kind of blend into me now.
Right,
Like,
right. You're just like, oh man, I can't drive down that street. I got to go around.
Well, yeah, and like
Yeah.
like people ask about it, like when you're out of town, and they're like, "What's it like to have them film that?" All,
Yeah.
And for me, like I always, I always think like, how does it impact my life? And I go, well, I'm fucking annoyed when I'm
Right.
on my way home from work, and I'm like,
rerouted.
rerouted because Ben Affleck wants to act like he's in a romance with somebody.
Right.
Whereas, like, I get annoyed for a completely different reason.
Sure.
I'm all, why am I not hired on that?
Why am I not working
What
on
is
that?
I didn't hear about that. What is this? This is some bullshit.
Well, my friends that own the Breaking Bad store, they text me all the time, and they're like, "What does FLA mean?" And they're always like, "I know what all the signs mean."
You can Google it.
And I'm like, I don't know. So, but they're always like, it should, what if somebody important is in town and they want to know?
Well, that's the whole thing, is they don't want you to know.
Exactly. So,
They're trying for you not to show up on set.
right, that's the deal. So, 2009, I, on a whim, signed up for the CNM film program.
Oh, okay. Really?
Just didn't tell anyone, didn't discuss it with anyone. I just I signed up and went the first night.
What?
And cried my eyes out on the way home because I'd found my people in one night. The first night, just the instructors and the people that, that were presenting even the first night. I was like, this is, now I'm back to like 18 years old,
right.
And like found my way. So at 46,
this is amazing.
and then, okay, so I'm a pretty good mom.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty bossy. I'm very organized. And so I get into this film program, at CNM, which is full of like 18-year-olds, right? Who didn't go to UNM and didn't go,
right.
And by the way, I feel like things are different now. And I don't think that we have to have a culture of everyone going to college right away. And I don't think that people have at 18 really the ability to make a decision on what they're going to do the rest of their life and spend some,
I'm
millions of dollars.
No one should have given me all that money.
I'm
Right?
Go to school.
Right.
I had no
I'm
idea what I wanted to do.
100% agreeing with you.
Yeah.
Like
I don't use any of those degrees now.
if
Anything I went to college
it's my
for.
opinion that there should be no kid at college that's like, well, I haven't figured out what I want to do yet.
Right.
You're wasting money sitting there.
Right.
Like, and that was me.
Right.
I was the kid that was like, I'm not sure what I want to do. And I studied history because I loved history, and everybody's like, "Are you going to teach it?" I'm like, "No, I don't. I don't want to be a fucking school teacher."
What
you
else
know?
do you do with a history degree?
Right. And then so then my day job is I'm an IT professional.
Right.
And people go, "Did you go to college for that?" And I go, "Let me explain something to you. When I started college, the internet was text based.
Right.
They
DOS.
It was called Telnet.
Yeah. I've done hardware replacement for companies. I worked in a shop and I fixed hardware and software. I've done, IT for large companies. I've done cybersecurity. None of that I went to school for.
Wow.
None of that.
Wow.
And now I get paid an exorbitant amount of money, and none of it I have a degree for in any way, shape, or form, and/or any certifications.
I love it. I love it. Well, back to my graphic design days.
Right.
My first job out of college, I had two good stories about right out of college. My first job out of college, I got a job at the Department of Transportation doing retirement certificates because I had taken 3 calligraphy classes.
Wow.
But the thing about working there was that they had computers. They had enough money at the state of Wisconsin that they started, getting computers, and so I started learning a little bit about computers there. And then my second job was at this company called Persoft, and it was a emulation software company. And
Right.
I became a beta tester for PageMaker
Oh, wow.
in 1987.
Shit.
And so I kind of stumbled into the computerized graphic design
Right.
world. And then the next job I got, I lied and said I knew how
wow.
to do
Doug-
Ventura Publisher.
Doug is behind you.
Did you beta test anything?
Doug is a little behind.
He's heard my stories.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I kind of stumbled into it, and it was, I have the how hard could it be gene in me. So it's like
I'm the same way.
Yeah, I can figure it out.
Yep.
I can figure this out. And when I was working for the Department of Transportation, the guys that were working there, I mean, they were still smoking in the office. That's how long ago it was. And they're like, I'm getting all my projects done, and I'm like, 22 years old, and I'm like, this is so much fun, and I love it, and I'm getting paid for this. And they're like, girl, you got to slow down.
Yeah.
You got to get your cinnamon roll at 10 o'clock
Yep.
down at the cafeteria,
Yep.
and you got to slow down. And I was like, if I slow down, I can't work here very much longer, because I don't want to be those guys, that are like in their 50s and like, we're just coasting through working for the state.
Isn't that a weird fuck? Like I don't think Smiley's ever been in that environment. Where
I've worked for the city before.
okay, where you come in and you're like fucking like kicking ass,
Stoked.
And,
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they're like, you need to stay at your desk. This is where you're at. I was just hoping to answer the
I
phone.
like to talk to people.
Well,
answer the phone.
No, the worst though is the first is like when the boss leaves and the coworkers are like, dude, you need to pace yourself.
Yeah, you're making us all look bad.
And that's a thing that people will do.
They do.
And I'm not that guy either. And so I'm kind of a disruptor at jobs. And I get hired to
Do you ask the questions? Do you ask the hard questions that make everybody mad?
Which ones?
Oh, just like, did anybody think about XYZ or doing it this way?
Yeah.
And they're like, oh shit.
Yes.
Here he goes again.
And here's the thing. A lot of people don't want to hire you because of that. But then there's like these like younger managerial people that are like all about it. And they're like, if you go in and you see a better way, you tell us. We want to know. And that's why I'm currently where I'm at.
Got it.
Because I look at, here's my thing. People look at an interview as like a thing where you're going to like prove to people that you should be there. I agree, but that's half of it. They also need to show me why I want to go there and I want to stay there.
Them. Yeah.
And why it's not a stepping stone. And when they told me, they're like, we want you to disrupt things, and we want you to if there's a better way to do something, we'd like to know.
Nice.
And I'm like, okay, I'll test that theory.
You see if you mean it.
Yeah. Because I hate, well, it's always been that way.
Oh, right.
Fucking hate it. Stupid.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah. I mean, my daughter, as a school psychologist, she is working in a high school in Santa Cruz, California, and these old hippies are like, we've always done it this way. What do you,
Right.
girl, don't burn this thing down.
The worst thing to me is like doing IT and you run into that person who's been in the same, they've literally been in the same job for 20 something years, and their computer breaks. And especially if it's bad, and you're like, well, we've got to reimage this, and bring you, the computer back
up.
Now, they've literally leaned on the fact that everything has been in that one spot on their desktop.
Oh no. No, they probably can't do their job anymore.
They flip out. They will have meltdowns.
Where's my folder? Where's my folder?
Oh yeah. I've watched people have a meltdown. So a lot of companies now will gently nudge those people into like certain patterns.
Sure.
And it saves that. That's happened so many times that I have seen the meltdowns, the crying.
Oh yeah.
Literal crying of people. They're like, oh, the icon for blah blah blah, where is it? And I'm like, calm down, you're not gonna be fired.
Right.
Because of.
But it's like,
Yeah.
I mean, I have had my run-ins with you guys before, and it's like, my computer's dead. Well, good thing you've been backing it up every day,
That's on
and
you.
you're like, oh shit,
That's
no,
on
I
you.
was not.
That's on you.
What was that? Jimmy Fallon on Saturday Night Live. Was it like Nick Burns, the computer guy?
Yeah.
Move.
So yeah, so the nudge thing I was talking about. That's one of those things where we gently nudge these people, and then a lot of times in the background we'll just do it for them, where
They don't know. It's being backed up every day.
Yeah,
Dang.
yeah, and it's because we have those situations where someone has a meltdown and there's crying.
Yes,
and I'm not kidding. I'm not
Oh
joking
no,
about the
I
crying
understand.
part of it.
I
yeah.
understand.
Yeah, but
Good thing you're such a nice, compassionate, like emotional person that can like smooth these things over easily.
Not to make this about me, but I'm the best IT guy. Not because I'm very technically sound. I'm not the most technically sound IT guy. I don't know, I know a lot of stuff. I just don't know everything. But I'm the guy that can come into your office and I can talk to you like a regular person.
Mm-hmm.
And you would be shocked at how many times, when you're in IT, that comforts people, and they will hit me up personally. They'll I get fans at work.
Thank you so much.
They're like, "Hey, Chris, I have another problem. Can you come look at that?" and I'm like, "Well, you're supposed to put a ticket in so it goes in the rotation." And they're like,
just come on
"Well,
over.
can you look at it? I don't
please."
like that other guy." And it's okay.
I mean, I don't want to get into the whole are you on the spectrum, or because I want to be political about this stuff, but it seems like you probably are bringing some humanity to it, that they're really happy to have somebody who cares.
Well, and
you're so much nicer than that creepy nerd that comes in.
So a lot of
Exactly.
here's
I didn't know if that's cool to say, but
here's the
I'll say it for you.
Thank you.
the guy that usually sleeps in his mom's basement. Yeah. The funny thing about that is I've been at the place that I've been at for a long time, and they won't hire those people. If you're that person that you can have all the computer knowledge in the world. If you're the mom's basement antisocial person, they won't hire you because it causes too many problems. It's very weird. Yeah.
Right.
So.
Well, because I think
Especially,
part of it is the crying, and you have to take care of them, and that's why you're good at your job.
Yeah.
Because you're like, it's going to be okay. What did
Well, I've had to be in a meeting where they were like, "Hey, can you come sit in on this meeting as a witness?" And I'm like, "Oh." and they're like, blah blah blah. We've had some complaints about your an odor that you have, and it's like, oh my lord, really? Are we having this fucking meeting? And
that's not good. Not good.
Well, you've been to Comic-Cons.
Oh yeah. Oh boy.
What Comic-Con was it here? They have a sign that's like, please make sure you have deodorant on.
Oh my god, the fact that you have to say that.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah, it's a weird world.
Doug,
Doug,
those signs. I thought they were more of a joke, but I guess
No,
I think Doug's trying to run the podcast today. Did you book any actors on the limited Showtime series The Curse? I assume you did.
Yeah, guess who I booked on the limited series The Curse?
Nathan Fielder?
Doug Montoya.
Doug Montoya.
That's why you're asking.
All right.
Okay.
Can I have another one of these? I want to talk about that show really quick.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Because we've talked about that show on here a lot, and I've only watched a couple episodes. I need to watch more. Truth be told,
I only watched the parts that my people were in.
Oh, really?
But I watched the last episode, and I know a lot about it. But I'm not sure if it's a show that I would like have just watched if my people weren't in.
Well, and I mean, it's purposely like awkward.
Yes,
because that's how Nathan feels.
Painful.
It's painful, awkward. But other than Doug Montoya,
I had other people on it, by the way, Doug. But you know, he had a really, really great role. In
Stephanie Galloway says she had art on that show.
Oh, very nice.
And you know what? Stephanie Galloway made a painting of me.
What?
And we are going to have her on the show at the end of October. She's going to bring me that painting.
I love it.
It's amazing. But here's my thing with that show. And we've talked about this on here, and I don't know how to say this without sounding like an awful person, but like that is the most, like when they filmed it in Espanola.
Right.
Like it's so awkward because the actors were like, anybody who's like an outsider, we want them from Hollywood or we want them booked through a talent agency. All the background we want local. And it was and I wasn't there in the room. I wasn't there when they decided this, but I guarantee this happened. They were like, we want the background people to be from here and then us from Hollywood and wherever else, because there's such a fucking contrast of people.
Right. And I mean, this is actually something that we can talk about in depth because, you know, and we can take Doug's role, for example, and the casting for that was very clear that they were doing street casting, which is when you're looking for real people.
Yes.
And so when I heard that they were like looking for the owner and teacher of an improv/comedy club and school and looking for students, I was like, well, I've got that. I represent a lot of
You hit up Doug and you're like, hey, do you know anyone that does this?
Right. And so I was like, I got a guy, and I did a pitch, and I was like, you know, to the casting director, I was like, he literally is this. And I have somebody in Phoenix that literally does the same thing.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know, you have to consider these people. And Doug will say too that he just got the part because it was street casting, like because he really is that guy.
Right.
But they, and then I was like, well, why don't you use all the improvisers from the show as the students in the class? And they didn't. They auditioned them all, but they ended up getting just people off the street doing that had almost probably. And this isn't my story to tell because I wasn't on set.
Right.
But Doug was like, that it took so long because those people were so not actors that they didn't know what to do. They'd look at the camera. So they had to do it over and over again.
But that's the there was a reason why they did it, because if you watch that show. And you haven't seen it.
I've never seen it.
So the whole point of it is they're like a couple that's on like that does like an HGTV type show.
Flip show.
But they've moved to Espanola, and they call it Espanola, to like show these people how they can, you know, live nicely. And it's like the white savior.
Oh my God.
Moving in.
Yes.
And the best shit ever is like how they look like Hollywood people, and then the background people look like fucking people from Espanola.
Yeah.
And like someone, when I was saying that, someone goes, well, what do you mean they look like they're from Espanola? And I was like,
it's people who have never been to Espanola.
I was like, you have to watch the show. And there's a whole scene in like the first episode where they've set up a coffee shop, fancy coffee shop, bougie.
Yeah, like intelligentsia from LA.
And then this little like indigenous woman walks up to buy coffee. And it's this amazing scene where that's like fish out of water just from the visual.
Right.
And that's why they were like the people that probably auditioned, they were probably like, yeah, this doesn't fit the joke that we're doing.
Right.
Or because that's what it is. It's like awkward humor.
Right. Right.
And I don't know if it's like becoming more of a thing, that awkward fucking humor, but like Nathan Fielder does it. Mm-hmm. John Wilson does it, and Nathan Fielder produced John Wilson's show. But
And like Stephen Merchant
Stephen
and Ricky Gervais are that as well. And I love that tangent, but I love that they only do like 1 or 2 seasons of something and then they get tired of it and they go on to something else. But the cringe of it all with Stephen Merchant, I was like, oh, it's Stephen Merchant. When I saw something that only he wrote, I was like, oh, he's the one. But but they again, this is not my story to tell, but they had Doug come in and all of the writing on the wall on the whiteboard about comedy. Mm-hmm. Doug just walked in and wrote all those things on the whiteboard. Right. And it was because of he knows it, and so they wanted something real. However, that created some bad feelings with the actors in town because they're like, they'd be like, we're looking for real waitresses. And I'm like, pretty much every actor is a waiter or a waitress. And waiting and waitressing is acting, right? Because you're putting on a persona to get a good tip.
That's right.
Right? And so I call a little bit of bullshit on it because actors have been working for years and years and years and they can act to be a waiter.
I'm telling you, they wanted to look.
Yeah. So for that show, they wanted to look.
They had nothing to do with
Yeah, with actors. This is endemic of the whole industry at this point, where they're just looking for real people. Like right now, there's a Ford commercial that's filming up in...
like everything I see, it's all, we want real people. I'm like, I can be that.
Right.
I'm like, I took 4 classes on that. Close enough, right?
Right.
I could do that. You want somebody that's buying a Ford truck?
Right. It's a Ford commercial and they want real fly fishermen.
I'll wear that short sleeve button up shirt with the flap in the back. And I'll be like,
from Costco?
Yeah, Orvis from Costco. I'll be like, hey.
I'll watch a YouTube
hey, man,
video on fly
we was
fishing.
out there fly fishing. I took my Ford F-150.
That's right.
Aluminum bed.
Take your little dog out there.
Oh, I could do all that. That's easy.
Yeah. Anyway.
That's easy.
Oh my goodness. Anyway, yeah. There's a lot that's kind of broken right now about casting.
So you took the class.
I'm sorry. Yes.
No.
Found my people.
Do not apologize. No. This is a show of tangents.
Oh my God, I love this so much.
So like when I watched the TV show,
yes.
How to with John Wilson.
Yes.
I was like, someone was like, you need to watch this show. And I was like, okay, I don't know why I need. And then I watched it. And I was like, oh my God, this is my podcast. This is where we start out somewhere and we end a fucking completely different place. And that's exactly how this show is.
I love it.
It's like people are like, how do you script out the show? How do you, I'm like, there's no script here.
Yeah, Chris specifically told me that. He's like, no, stop it. Stop coming with that mentality.
Well, I asked him before, I was like, how long is this thing? And you're
2
like,
hours.
You're like 2 hours. And he's like, you're like, is that okay? And I'm like, oh hell yeah, this is gonna go really fast because I have stories, and ideas and thoughts.
But you took the class.
Yes, I took the class, and I thought I wanted to go into casting because by now IMDb was a thing, and so you could get on the computer and you could like find out what actors were in what and what directors were doing what, and so I and. In the course of the CNN program takes you through every position on a film set. Okay. Below the line.
Wow.
And so you get to be in the sound department. You have to take classes. You have to pass classes on doing knots, and you have to learn how to do electrical cords. And so I had to be in the electrical. I had to be in. Of course, everyone wanted to be in the camera department or the director department. But I wanted to do casting, and so. Grub Graebner, who pretty much started...
great name.
Yes. He started the CNM film program, and he was also instrumental in the first tax incentives in New Mexico.
Oh, okay.
He is... I owe my career to him. He's retired now, but I think he's golfing.
Grub's out golfing.
He's out golfing. And every once in a while, every 6 months or a year or two, he'll call me and say, "You owe me lunch," and I'll say, "Of course, let's go to Jason's Deli. I'll get you." But he without really, he's a person that one of the first people that I ever ran across in my adult life that used words that I didn't know.
Oh.
I'm a lot of times I'm kind of the smartest person in the room.
Okay.
And so I'm very well read and I know a lot of words, and I would have to look up words that he was saying, and that engaged me and excited me and inspired me that he was using words, you know. I think ennui was one of the first words that I was like, I don't know, I've never heard that word before.
Wow.
Denouement was another one that he taught me.
Sounds like all like foreign, like French.
Yeah. Anyway, so he had a really great way, because there was some useless 18-year-olds that, I mean, oh my man, I shouldn't have said that. There were people that were just gonna, we're gonna do crew and we're gonna be PAs on set, and they just needed to learn how to not screw things up, you know. And so a lot of the people that were in that class were just doing it so they could start as a PA and, you know, in the camera,
figure it out
in the prop department or set deck or electrical or whatever. And I was a little more focused. There was a few of us adults in the class that kind of rose to the top, but again, because I'm a mom and I'm nurturing and I'm also bossy and organized, I started doing sort of AD work.
Okay.
And assistant director work is usually doing things like making sure all the actors show up and doing the call sheet for the next day, and relaying from the director things to the other departments and things like that. And so it was a really great time for me to do I did some commercials and I did some independent films as an AD. And when the call sheet goes out after the day has wrapped for the next day.
Right.
So I had to sit around a lot.
Oh yeah,
because I have to wait.
Because it can be like late as shit.
Right.
It can be like 11 o'clock at night.
Right.
And you're like,
and you've been there since 5 a.m.
Right.
So I would have to wait in order to talk to the director to see what scenes they wanted to do the next day and what you wanted to do the next day after that, and who you needed to call for those scenes and who was in those scenes. And so call sheets are just really fun to do. I ended up just sitting around talking to the actors while they were waiting to be wrapped and I was waiting to do the call sheet. And I completely fell in love with the actors in New Mexico.
Really?
And they wanted to talk. There were agents here. I thought I wanted to go into casting. And which is the other side of it. Casting is you're hired by the directors and the producers to find the actors from the agents. Mm-hmm. One of the other things that I didn't like about AD work and doing crew work and moving up the line that way is you had to constantly find your next job.
Right.
You're always looking. You're always worried about how long this one's going to be.
Yep.
And when am I going to get the next gig? And I realized
and it's a little backstabby that way.
It is, and right. And so you're, you know, and
cutthroat.
You have to find
Cutthroat's a better word.
Cutthroat, and you have to find those people that are willing to say, come be on my team, and then you travel with them and you keep going.
It's like anything in life. Networking is the greatest word in the dictionary.
That's really true. It's really true.
And I don't care. Like, experience is a big word. It's great. It's a lot. But if you have a lot of experience but not good at networking,
True.
you're effed. And it's like, you know, and I've dated people who were in that industry and they are just starting out and they're like, I don't know why I'm not getting hired. And I'm like, because people don't know who you are.
Right.
And it's like anywhere. Once people know who, you know, it's who you know, not what you know. And I don't care if you want someone to sit and argue with me on that, that's fine. And I will not argue with you. I'll just go and, you know, get the job and see you later.
Well, I would like to add to that because I have always felt like I agree with you and I'm with you on that.
Right.
But you also need to be the one that solves the problem.
Yes.
And doesn't get in the way.
But that's the reason.
Right. Right. You need to become indispensable.
You know, you're indispensable. Even more than that, you're easy to work with.
Right. And you're nice.
You're
right?
nice. People come into work and you're not a fucking problem.
Right.
You don't add to their bullshit.
Right. Right.
You know, don't add to their bullshit. Don't be a problem. Help solve the problems. Show up to fucking work.
There you go. That's the one. That's the one that always gets me my jobs.
It's so good. You actually show up for when you're supposed to be there.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no.
What?
Yeah, that's
I love
that. I've
that.
gotten
Yeah.
all my jobs that way.
Right.
And
How? I
and
just showed
you know,
up.
and then when they're like, "Hey, do you know somebody?" You bring someone in that also does the same shit like you do,
Right,
like that.
right. Because your
Yeah.
word means something
Yeah.
at that point.
Yep.
And so you don't want to bring somebody in. And that's another thing that's interesting. I always told my kids, when my kids were like, nobody likes me at school, those kind of things when you're like in elementary school. And I always said, in order to have a friend, you need to be a friend.
Right.
And it's the same thing in business.
Yes, Smiley. I'm just kidding.
And so it's like be part of the solution, be somebody that people want to see in the morning when they come in, and that you make them feel better from seeing you. And this sounds really woo woo and like very sunshiny,
No.
but you want to make somebody's day better than add to their bullshit. So I'm agreeing
To
with
their
you.
bullshit.
Yeah. But
You know what? I'm gonna tell everybody a secret.
okay.
When you were in school, the teacher outside of school went and hung out with their friends, and they either told their friend that they liked you or they hated your little stupid ass. while they were getting drunk with their friends, because teachers all get fucked up.
Yeah, right. And they're either like, you will not believe the funny thing that this cute kid said, or they're gonna be like, oh,
I have
my
this
God,
little
that
motherfucker,
effer. Yeah,
this little motherfucker in
Yeah.
my class, Chris. His name is fucking Chris.
He's got these white glasses on. You would not believe the things that comes out of his
I
mouth.
didn't wear glasses. Let's take a quick 5-minute break, real quick,
I was just having a smoke. Yeah, I don't want
and then we'll get back because you have to leave at like.
I can stay as long as you want me.
Oh, well, then
as
all
long
right,
as you
then.
will listen to me.
Yes. So we'll take a quick break, but we got some stuff to promote.
Yes, we do.
Carissa, you've got stuff coming up, right?
Sure.
What do you got going on?
I mean, I have actors that are in films. I've got actors that are in Monsters, the new show that just came out. But I don't know if I say I'm going to promote something, it's really that I want to promote my actors in shows.
Yeah.
And stuff
Well,
like
you're
that.
also a
Celebrity judge
at
the Alma's AAA Cabaret.
which is the second Saturday in October.
Yes.
I will not be there.
Dang it.
I know. You know what? I'm very upset
Who are we
about
gonna
it.
get? Who are we gonna get for us?
Sarah said that I should just film like some scenes. I'm like, that was a good thing you did there, and then like they'll just play that.
I had to miss one, and I did not like missing it.
Who filled in for you?
Was it Doug? Probably.
No, you didn't. You didn't miss one.
Maybe we both missed it at the same time.
Oh,
that would have been bad.
I don't know.
Talk about intimidating, though.
There's
You
only
and
that
Sarah,
one week
man.
that you've
Wait, okay, hold on. Let's tease everything. I want to hear why it's intimidating. I want to hear for the second hour. So we have that, right? You have actors.
I have actors.
Where do people go? Like, they can go to Mitchell Associate.
It's actually mitchelltalent.com is my website. Yeah.
Talent.com.
Yeah.
If they're looking for representation.
Right. And there's a trick to it. There's an online form, and part of the trick is that you have to fill out the form properly.
Right.
It's like showing up on time.
Yeah.
Like, did you follow my instructions?
Right.
First little.
Now
it's a trap.
everybody's gonna be using ChatGPT to fill that shit right out. Cool. Well, I don't have the AAA Cabaret to promote. Thursday night though. This Thursday at the El Rey Theater, it's September Rain. Duke City Championship Wrestling.
Shit.
I do commentary. I am here's what always makes trips me out. People are like, we saw you there, we couldn't hear you. I'm like, I'm doing commentary. The commentary is not for the audience there. The commentary is for the TV show. It's for the TV show and for the YouTube audience, right?
Yeah, you can see the things that are
Yeah.
happening.
You can see
You're
it.
there.
They're like, we
Right.
came to hear you.
Yeah, and it's funny because like I tell people, I'm like, when you go watch the WWE, you can't hear the commentators. That's for the TV, and it bedaffles people. They're like, well, then why did I see you up on the screen? Because they're filming
part
our
of the show.
segment. Yeah, they're filming our segment, you dumbasses.
This is also a TV show. Did
Yeah.
you not get that?
But I will be there. We're back at the El Rey Theater.
Amazing.
From our successful show in Rio Rancho, where we had 755 people, and I'm interested. Dude, they just went up because I didn't have to. If there's no commentary, they don't bring me in. But they went up to Santa Fe, and I think they had 1,200 people out there at a show in Santa Fe. So I don't know what the El Rey is going to be like on Thursday. because we pack it.
Yeah, it
It's
gets packed.
Nice.
And it gets so loud in there. I have my headset on and I can't hear. And I'm trying to cover up, I'm like trying to. We talked about before the show, like how many people, enough that I get all these other side projects that I get to do and enjoy. And so come out Thursday night if you like pro wrestling, or even if you don't, if you want to go, you can definitely go. I'll get you a ticket. It's really entertaining. And the only thing I could explain to people is like anytime I'm sitting around comedians, burlesque performers, drag queens, it's literally like the same thing of being in the back with wrestlers.
Nice.
They're all performer. It's all performance. And it's really funny because you say that
each other with their costumes.
Yes.
And then going out and beating each other.
Yeah, well, but they don't. See, that's what's so funny. It's a dance. And it's so funny because everyone's like, well, they're just beating the shit out of each other. Actually, the whole thing is they have to make it look as violent as they possibly can without injuring each other at all. The best possible outcome is to go in the back and feel nothing and be like, whatever. I would say that I've talked to drag queens, and they were talking about the morning after. They do a show, and it sounds much quite like the same as wrestlers, where they're, the night up, they're like, adrenaline is fucking flowing. They're good to go. And then, they go off a ladder through a table, and on fire. And then, they get up and everybody's like, I can't believe they're okay. But the next day, you have a drag queen that does a cartwheel and lands in the splits.
Right.
And you're like, I don't know what's wrong with you. Why would you do this to yourself? And the wrestling is, but when you get back in the back and you talk to them and it's all the same kind of people. They're putting on a show.
Yeah.
For someone to clap and buy a ticket. And that's what it is. Look at me.
The couple times I've been in a wrestling backstage room, I was like, this is exactly like all of my dance performances.
Mm-hmm. Everyone's like, I want to go backstage, and like, there's a reason why you don't get to go backstage because it's like
it would ruin the illusion.
It ruins the illusion.
Right.
It's like everyone's like, what's it like being a part? Because I helped start it, and they're like, what? How is so? I've watched wrestling since I was 5. I watched the least amount of wrestling that I've ever watched in my entire life now. And they're like, what's it like? I'm like, it's like being a magician's assistant. I know how the cheese is made. I know how.
I know too much.
Yeah. And so like when I watch wrestling now, I'm like, oh wow, okay, that was nice. That was nice what he did there. I see all the little trick, and I'll tell you off the air, like some of the things that they've taught me that I'm kind of like, motherfuck, like it's so amazing how there's comedians. They, someone's like, why don't you do stand-up comedy? I'm like, well, you don't understand. The jokes they just told you sound like they just came off their head. They've told those jokes so many times. They've honed it. They've worked it. They've done it. And then they've told it to you tonight. And you, in a way that you believe that this was the first time they've ever said it. That's why they're great actors.
Right.
Like there's, everybody's like, wow, who knew Robin Williams was a great actor? Well, Jesus Christ, he's been doing it. Wrestlers are the same thing. Mm-hmm. Their whole idea is to like fool you into think that they just fuck some dude up that in the back they had just, had a, heart-to-heart talk with, It's very weird. But anyway, so Thursday night, come out to the El Rey for wrestling. Smiley, got anything? Oh, we've got something.
No, we have something coming up. Yeah.
October. What is the date on that?
We are going to be out there the October 10th through 14th. That's us.
Chronicon.
Yes.
We will be with Ming Chen, who is in a new movie that just came out.
That's right. 2.
What was the movie?
The Unexpected.
The Unexpecteds. They just had Alejandro Montoya Marin. They just had the premiere in New York, and they're going to do it this next week here
in Albuquerque Friday night. Yeah.
Yeah. Dang it. I need to hit him up, see what he says. If not, Carissa says she can get me 6 tickets.
I don't think I could do that.
Chris is just making stuff up on air.
Let's see. She's like, make it so.
Yeah. Well, anyway, that's what we got coming up. So if you're in the Chicago area.
Oh, yeah. I've already been getting recommendations on places to eat.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. I've been told the best
places to
karaoke
go.
bar in the world is there.
Oh, okay, cool. I didn't have any
Yeah.
recommendations on that one yet.
Well, you have to go to Gino's East for pizza.
Okay. Is this a
It's Chicago style, which is like 5 inches deep, and there's like 2 inches of sausage.
that's like the end of the day kind of food though? Because that people don't get it. If you never had real Chicago deep dish,
That's the
I was
original.
told Pizza Uno.
really?
No, no,
Okay,
that's a
good.
joke.
Yeah, it's a joke.
That's like Domino's.
That's like,
Okay.
yeah. No. If you
That's like a chain.
Okay, Smiley. If
Well,
you,
see,
you
this is pretty on par for my friends to give me like the
right.
shittiest advice.
So
We're
it's-
like, he's gonna go. We're gonna send him to all the shittiest places in Chicago.
so Smiley, you're a little. You never been to Chicago?
I went to Chicago when I was 17.
No,
Last
no,
time I
that
was there.
doesn't count. So like
That's the last time
when
I've
you
been
eat deep dish pizza, that's the end of the day.
Oh my god, so good.
It's like you're eating a brick of bread.
Right.
It's a like
Sopped in cheese and
yeah.
sauce.
And for me, there's either
So is it more like a quiche then?
yeah.
It kind of is.
Yeah.
And they like literally roll out sausage like it's the top of a pie crust.
cool.
Like with a rolling pin.
Yep.
And cook it.
Oh, I
cook
have
the
to get
sausage.
this.
It's cook the sausage in the pizza. Like, oh my god. It's so good.
My place is either Portillo's or Al's Beef.
Al's beef. I haven't heard that in a long time.
You don't like Al's Beef?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, man. I'm looking forward. Like, really, the food experience is what I'm looking forward
Yeah.
to.
Yeah.
My
Then
Chicago.
you got to have a Chicago hot dog.
Yeah, I already. Yep.
Chicago
Got
dog.
it's a Chicago dog if it has a snap to it, like when you bite into the actual
Crunch.
like wiener. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The food is made. I mean, we'll try to get to the bean.
Well, I just remember like when I was there, like when I was
Yeah.
17, like the last time I was there, I remember like every place I ate was amazing.
Well, I think Friday during the day we'll have some time because like once the con's full, I don't know, but like Friday during the day and Monday during the day. So I would like if you've never seen the bean, have you ever seen the
Oh
bean?
yeah. Yeah.
I was like, who gives a fuck about that? And then we went down and looked at it, and I was like, oh, this is
pretty
really
cool.
fucking cool.
Yeah.
We'll try to get down there to that, and then I mean, Ming already has an itinerary.
Oh, yeah, I'm
so
sure.
don't even
Yeah.
When I drove with Ming to El Paso, he had never been there before. As we're driving from Albuquerque to El Paso, Ming has his phone out, and he's like mapping all these places that he's looking up on his phone, and he already has like I didn't even try to look for places. He found all the places, and that's where we went. So.
Did you go through like Hatch, or is that the wrong direction?
Uh,
Like to go get green chili cheeseburgers and
no,
Sparky's or whatever.
San Antonio.
Oh, San Antonio.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We didn't stop there. Actually, we didn't go that way,
Mm-hmm.
but we came back that way because it was really funny. Because he was like, "Hey, on the way back, if it's no problem, can we stop at White Sands?" And I was like, "Yeah," because my mom lives in Albuquerque. We stopped and saw my mom,
Oh, nice.
Nice.
and he's like, "Can we spend a couple hours at White Sands?" And I was like, we're not gonna spend a couple hours.
But we'll go. But
We're gonna spend like 20 minutes there."
It all kind of looks the same.
And he goes, "Oh, that's it?" And I was like, "Well, if we can stay as long as you want, but it's going to be like 20 minutes."
it's like going to the beach without any water.
Yeah. And yeah. And once we were out there, and it was really windy,
Oh,
and we were
boy.
out there for like 20 minutes, and he stood there and he's like,
Okay.
"All right." I was like, "There you go. Cool." All right. Well, we're going to, let me pull this up real quick. We'll be back with Carissa Mitchell. We'll talk about some cabaret stuff. We'll talk more about being an agent. All the fun stuff. If you guys have questions, put them in the chat for Carissa, because I mean, I'm sure there's questions I'm not at, because I always hate when people are like, "You didn't ask this." I'm like, ask it, motherfucker. We have a
It's a
whole
live
chat room.
show.
It's a live show. You can ask it. I don't care. Unless it's, inappropriate, then we won't put it up there. But, also don't just start doing that.
Yeah, those were the fun old days when we used to get call-ins.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Which,
Oh,
Yeah.
that was inappropriate.
Ooh.
yeah, we're going to hang that one up. But we'll be right back with more Carissa Mitchell, super agent. With that, we are 10 drink minimum.
Lay down to sleep in your cozy little bed. Don't be a sheep. Somebody call me. Don't be afraid. I'm feeling shadows speak, but they ain't breathing. They're deceiving you again. Oh, Greeks, even when there's no one around. Oh, and the construct keep you down. You wait another day to hit the ground. But the books begin. And we try. Curtain, shine a spotlight on the forehead. You absorb the sweat. Tie the voices to the stigma you created, elevated in your head. And I know flow creaks even when there's no one around. Oh, flow creaks even when there's no one. Under control, keep you down, you wait another day to hit the ground. Control. Keep you down, did you wait another day to hit the ground? For you, you'll be a feeling baby, try. Supposed to live without you. Here we are, the play. It's only me without you. I'm speaking all the shit, all the things they could be better. Those who ride, I swear, the word on somebody, I don't want to say what was for us. What could be better? How do we do that? To the place our backs, backs, you know, you started. My days next to your sleep. Chase it all. Was it you? Your face is my eyes. I got some to buy you. Walk to the corner of the shelf. Your pocket's not so bad, but you I can waste there's no use to quality or style. I'm speaking of wishing for it, they could be better. Don't be so right, I'll just wait. Words apart, and I want it. The same proportion for us, what could be better? How do we do right? To the best song, our backs, backs, lead up to the starting. My days next to your skin. Chase it on, chase it on. Do you hear that sound? It's the sound of you taking me down. Your eyes signal, that look is mine. That sound, for us to ride. Your job, it's awesome, but it's just the same. Let's all me a kind of ghosts floating in the rays of mind and mind. The path is set for a certain kind of time. Machine to take me to the top of when we met. Chase it on. Do you hear that sound? It's the sound of you taking me back. Your eyes signal, that look is mine. The back says, boy, that's alright. Yes. Come on, just a slice of what we had.
Sold my soul to the bottle. Still none of my friends have left me yet. The same man I was since the age of 13, and I live my life with no regrets. If you're looking for some freedom, all it takes is 10 drinks minimum. If you're looking for rhyme or reason, all it takes is 10 drinks minimum.
Oh, gravy. It's the Billy/Wavy Hour. If you're still with us, you're on the Stairmaster, or you're driving home from work, or even across country like a truck driver. This is 10 Drink Minimum, and I'm your host, Chris Burnett, and we are sponsored by Topo Chico. James Smiley is here.
I am here as well, as always.
And if you've tuned in, we have Albuquerque talent super agent, Carissa Mitchell, with us.
Just keep calling me that. I like it.
I was going to wonder, like, I thought you were going to, you seem like, I was like, you were going to be like, no, don't do that. No.
It's better if other people call me that and not me.
Okay, I have the question. Why did you pour the biggest shot for yourself?
That was an accident.
Here, give it to me.
I figured no one else wanted the big one.
Okay, so I've heard this is the worst tasting liquor.
Carissa fucked up during the during the break, and she's like, I've been told that not to drink this Malort thing.
You're like, okay.
What do you think it's going to taste like?
I don't know, because
I always get
I
a
can't
big
smell
reaction.
it. There's nothing to
I know
smell.
that's what I love about it. There's no bad smell, right?
I can't even, like, the worst thing I can think of is like Jägermeister, because
No.
black licorice, bleh, or like
No.
Ouzo.
So I'm gonna describe it to
Okay.
you. Should I, well, here's the thing. You have that can ready.
Yes.
Don't do that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that
No
is
ba-
not,
no
that is
backlash.
not going to help out.
Okay.
And I'm gonna tell you why. It's very oily.
It
so-
coats your mouth.
You're selling it.
No. When you take a drink, it if you try to do a chaser, it spreads it. So
Jeez.
here's
it's
what-
like it's like getting jalapenos in your eye.
the
right?
first time I ever had it was in the Cubby Bear in Chicago, and it tastes to me like hot, dirty rubber bands
Why are we doing this?
because it rules.
Now, do I have to do the whole thing? Like,
It's
knock it
These
back,
two
or-
are.
Yeah.
These
it's
two
not
are,
a sipper.
No.
Oh, yeah.
Oh God, what would you do that for?
I don't know.
You'd have to. Yeah, you have to knock it back.
I never have a good reaction.
Well, here.
Why-
So what's Alejandro's movie? It's the
Unexpected.
Unexpected. Here's to a great premiere for
Yes.
the unexpected.
Unexpected.
Yes.
Yes.
All right, and I have the
Okay.
biggest shot. We got to get Smiley ready for Chicago, so it's
Yes.
coming. It's coming.
Oh,
There it is. Give it a second.
ooh,
Yeah.
that is bad. That is bad. Why?
Oh man.
Why?
Yeah. Yeah.
And you had it imported in from Chicago. You can't get it here.
Right. Yeah. It's funny because like
Oh, God.
these three bottles that we have,
Yes.
the new ones, were brought to me by two of the drag queens that were on the cabaret
Nice.
that came in from Chicago.
Nice.
Alma's
Oh, yeah.
sisters.
So, funny story. I went to the Star Wars celebration in 2019 in Chicago.
Okay.
And I had never met Alma / Nate, but because I'm in Cardboard Playhouse where Nate started, I hit him up on Instagram and I said, hey, my brother and I are coming to Chicago. There's nothing happening on Saturday night and so we went to Boys Town. We took the subway to Boys Town and saw Alma.
Okay.
In Chicago, and it was really cool.
Performing.
Oh,
wow. Dude,
performing.
I am so upset. I'm going to miss that Halloween show because I've been seeing all of the stuff Alma's. I mean, I saw what Alma did on the last one.
Right.
And Alma did a special, like, if you weren't there, Alma did a thing where she started out backstage and you had to log into your Instagram and go to Alma's Instagram and hit the story. And the actual performance started on your phone.
Oh, wow.
Before it came out. And Alma was in this, I don't even know how to explain it, very Halloween-esque, like horror drag that was
beautiful.
But then I've also seen some of the pictures of Alma's like Pan's Labyrinth drag.
It's like with eyes on the hands.
Yeah.
When we saw Alma in Chicago, it was like this Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, like wintry sticks and white, like winter, almost like a winter scene, like a nest or something. It was incredible. I'll tell you this, like so for people who don't know, Carissa and I both are judges on the Almost Triple Cabaret. And I normally enjoy being a judge. I did not enjoy being a judge on that last one. I didn't like it. Well, I think it departed from the format that we have done that really works. Right. Well, and I was literally doing origami. Right. Come on. It was fun. That was terrible. No, hold on. We'll get to that. And like, why, Chris, why did you hate it? Well, because like I can't judge these people who are just all of them amazingly talented. Like it. Oh, you're talking about all of the drag queens that were there in the second act. Yes. Like, how am I going to say anything like I'm like, well, you were amazing and great. Right. The next person, also amazing and great. Right. Next person, also amazing and great. Yes. And, one of them had been on Drag Race. Right. And they were just top tier performer. And it's crazy. And another like drag to wrestling reference. Mm-hmm. And I know this is weird, but like the other 3 drag queens prior to the last one all did like what do they call it where they jump and land in the splits? The drop of death or something. I don't know what it's called, but you just go ooh. The death drop. Drop. So anyway, they all did like some version of that, right? The final drag queen did not do that. And I felt like put on the better performance of all of them, right? And like you'll go watch pro wrestling, death drop. That's what Doug says. Okay, thanks, Doug. You go watch pro wrestling, and you'll see like the young guys come out, and they'll do all these flips. They'll like fly out of the ring, all these crazy maneuvers, and the crowd gets hot for it, like for the high. They call them high spots. Well, then at the end of the show, you have a couple veterans come out, and they'll do 3 moves, and the 3 moves are like a body slam and like a blah blah, and everybody, and then at the end of that match, there's a standing ovation, and it's timing, it's psychology, and it's showmanship, and I've always heard that. Like, growing up, they're like, well, the new guys all just, they all rely on, like flips and gymnastics and like that, but like, if you can go watch a show and, there's people up there that are doing these crazy things that are cool, like it's cool to see, but then you get someone up there that like tells a story, paints a picture, and you're like, oh, wow. And by the end of it, you're like, that was something else. Absolutely. And it's so beautiful. And so that was a very hard thing to like
I was like, I don't really feel like I should even be up here saying anything to anyone,
Well, I'm a seamstress,
Yeah.
and I used to sew my own clothes, and I do sew things for theater, for
Yeah.
children's theater, and like just their costumes
Oh
and
my
their
gosh.
makeup, and then choice of song and
Right.
all of
Choreography.
all of that is just so it's so specific
Right.
and so artistic, and sometimes, like, to your point, almost the more simple it is, the better,
Right.
and
that's a thing with with age.
yeah,
Like when you're young, you're like, I want this, and then the older you get, you're like, you know what? I want it to look clean. I want it to look nice, and I want it to look cool.
right, absolutely.
And that's it.
Like, for those of you that have sat through 48-hour film festival
Yeah.
screenings of people that have tried to make their life story in 12 minutes, and it's like trying to be dark, and it's
Yeah.
trying to have all these meanings, and and it would probably be better just to have somebody go buy a hot dog and eat a hot dog, and that would be
Right.
a really great movie for 12 minutes. Trying to complicate it and making it too deep or something
Right.
just ruins it.
It does. It does. And we could do a whole podcast on. I've done it once, and I was Smiley, and I did it with some people, and afterwards, I was like, if I ever do it again, I would never do it with. Number one, I wouldn't do it with these people. Number two, these are the things I learned.
Right. What not to do.
Yeah, what not to do. And
What not to do is a pretty powerful thing, though.
It is.
Yeah.
It very much is.
Everyone thought Chris was my boss.
Yeah.
Can you get your boss? I'm like, okay,
Excuse me?
I'm done helping you now.
You got it all wrong.
That is actually a running theme in Smiley and I's relationship, because we did a podcast festival one time.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know. I get very frustrated with people that are my peers in this industry.
I am the customer service front for our podcast, for our show.
And
he will just put me in front of him.
Just go talk to the
Smiley's
people.
going to deal
so
with that.
we did this day-long podcast festival, right? And the guy who was putting it on he was like, I'm going to do this. He's like, will you come help? I'm like, well, of course. So this is what they were going to do. They were like, we're having a meetings for it, and like, we're gonna have 15 podcasts in 12 hours at the press club. Okay. And he's like, I was like, well, what are the logistics of this? He's like, well, each podcast will just bring their own equipment and do it. I was like,
no.
I was like, you're out of your fucking mind.
No.
I was like, I'll bring my equipment, and everybody can just sit down and fucking podcast, because
what a nightmare.
15 minutes between each one. I was like,
No.
yeah, out of your mind.
Troubleshooting.
So I volunteer my shit, because I don't trust anyone else's stuff. I've been doing it longer than anybody, and I'm I know, and I know I sound egotistical, and that's fine, because you have to have somebody in that scenario who can fucking go, shut up, do this, and let's get it done. And oh my Lord, it was painful. Like, we did our show came off the worst, because like,
we were exhausted.
We were
like
exhausted.
Because you were helping.
time.
You guys are so
There's
nice.
no video of ours, but like, literally, this podcast came in, and I'll never forget them ever. And they're like, they need you inside. And I'm like, what's happening here? And the girl came in, and she's like, we don't like the chairs. She tells Smiley this, and Smiley's like, okay. And she's like, well, can you go get your boss? And the boss is me.
Yeah, and I'm like, hold
So
on.
I walk
I've been
in.
helping these people out all day.
Yeah, and I walk in, and she goes, we don't like the chairs. I was like, okay. She goes, we want those chairs over there. I was like, okay.
Go get them.
And she goes, what are you going to do about it? I was like, nothing. If you want those chairs, you pick that one up, and you move it out of the way, and you go pick that one up, and you move it where you sit down at.
How you do things.
Boom.
I'm
And
in
then
the production crew. Like,
Yeah.
I already put like closed like the shades for them and put some things outside so they didn't have any back glare.
And you didn't have to do any of this.
No.
Nope.
And so then, like, and so
Just being
here's the other dumb shit. We're doing this at the press club. The press club is the backdrop.
Right.
They're like, well, our producer's coming with our overlay for our show,
Yes.
so that we look like we're in two different places. I was like, you're sitting across from each other, and they're like, well, we want it to look like we're in two different places. I'm like, okay.
Wow. Wow.
What the fuck ever.
Okay.
What the fuck ever.
That's gonna look good.
I'll still click the thing that says live from the press club at the bottom. And yeah. And there was 15 podcasts there that day.
Yeah.
I think us and one other are left.
Yeah, that's actually true. From all the podcasts that were there.
Oh no, sorry, maybe 3. Squaring the Strange, I think, still does stuff every once in a while, which they were great, by the way.
But like it affected your
Yeah.
podcast because you were like doing this stuff for
Not really.
everyone
We're
else.
still here.
You're still here.
We just didn't get a recording of
Yeah.
it because
We got the audio, not the video,
Yeah.
because
Got it.
Billy didn't know how to. Billy got a little drunk and didn't know how to turn the video on, which is
Oh,
fine
Billy.
because I couldn't host and produce from that point. But
as you
can
I
see-
was on the show too,
so-
so I couldn't run the sound.
let me ask you this question:
Yes.
You've watched this before?
Yes.
Did you realize how much producing I do sitting
No,
here?
you're like you. It seems effortless,
Right.
But you're just pushing buttons all over the place,
Right.
and you're like positioning yourself and look at that. You're
Yeah.
just like pulling things. It seems very effortless and easy. Like again, I have this "how hard could this be"
Right.
gene,
Yeah.
but I know that it comes from how many years?
Yeah.
17?
Right.
Year?
18.
18. Okay.
Yeah.
But you make it look very easy.
Thank you. So I wanted to. You made a comment before the break, and then we'll get back into the agent stuff because
Yeah.
I'm sure that's what people want to hear. You said that like Sarah and I are like the
Oh yeah.
What did you say?
What's the intimidation factor
intimidation
from
factor.
these two?
Yeah.
Well, okay,
those
so
two.
so I
And then I have a retort to this.
okay. So you come across Sarah Kennedy, who owns Dry Heat Comedy, is probably one of the funniest people I've ever met, and she's and the pop cultureness of it all with
Yeah.
her is incredible.
Right.
And sometimes I feel like when I'm trying to comment on the acts for Alma's AAA, I am looking at the allusions to
Right.
pop culture and things like that. I want to be inspiring, and I want to be
Yeah.
not complimentary, but I want to be encouraging to them all. But also, want to call bullshit on things. But you two have like this ability to think about things in a way that my brain does not work.
Oh, okay.
And so I love hearing what you guys have to say. And so I'm usually pretty happy that if they ask for me to go first.
Yeah.
and give my commentary. But I will usually go to something that's like mom related or like having kids really, if my mom had done that, or whatever. So
Yeah.
because I think I come with a different like worldview because I'm a mom and I'm, all that stuff that you guys aren't. And so I try to stay in my lane of that sort of thing. But really, I just want to be a cool kid, and you guys are the cool kids in my head. So
All right. I'm going to retort to that. First of all, you shouldn't stay in any lane. Second of all, you are the only person on that panel that has a legitimate is a legitimate judge. You're a talent agent. Like you're the person that like someone walks in and they're like, "Hey, I think I could do this." And you go, "Well, you thought wrong. Now get your shit and get out."
Okay, well, I have a retort to that.
No, I'm not done.
Okay.
So then I don't like it when you go first. Because the last show, twice, you took exactly what I was going to say.
Oh, I stole
Twice.
your thunder.
No. But I had to scramble. And so for you to say like you're not on that level, you are exactly on the level because that was exactly what I was going to say to them.
Okay, well that makes me feel better.
And you twice took it. And I was like, fuck. I was like, well, I can't say that now.
Now I got to think of something else on the fly.
As quick as I could. Now, you say you're the smartest person in the room. I try to be the wittiest person in the room.
Okay.
And that's a different thing.
That is true.
It is a different thing.
Yeah. Okay.
And people are always like, they'll come on the show and they're like, I'm scared that you're going to like say things that make me look stupid. I'm like, what? Do I do that?
Watch the show?
Do I do that?
No,
to
you
people?
don't. You don't. No.
Yeah.
We
No.
razz each other, not the guests.
Right.
Doug says he has a retort for all of us.
Well, here's the thing about where I have to
Yeah.
stay as an agent.
Yeah.
Because I stay with the actors, right? And
yeah.
so I go through with the actor, link arms through their career. So I was having this discussion with somebody else this week. I have to stay in this really optimistic place all the time.
Right.
Because every actor wants that big break.
Yeah.
They want that big role. They want the next thing. They're done with this and they want the bigger role. They want a guest star. They
Right.
want a recurring role on a TV show. They want to go to LA. They want to go to Toronto. They want, they want the next big thing. And so my job essentially is to find them those opportunities to get there.
Yeah.
I'm not the one auditioning. I can influence by saying you really ought to look at this guy or this woman. There,
you can agitate.
I can agitate and I can pitch, but I have to stay in this very Pollyanna, optimistic, like success for my actors is right around the corner.
Right.
The next big thing is right around the corner because usually they're on a ledge somewhere ready to slit their wrists and say, I'm going to quit. Or should I divorce my wife? Or should I get bangs?
Should I fire Smiley? That's
Yeah.
what we're asking. I'm just kidding.
Wait,
whoa. Should I get bangs?
Oh yeah,
did you not hear
divorce or bangs. But the thing is, there's so little control that an actor, and you're doing background, right?
Yeah,
But there's so little control that an actor
Right.
has, and so what do they have control over? They have control over who they're married to, what their hair looks like,
Right.
and who their reps are.
Oh yeah.
And so a lot of times I get stuck in the crosshair of it must be my problem that they're not at the place where they want to be with their career.
Well,
And so because I didn't pitch them enough or I don't have enough power or I don't have what it takes to get them, but really I'm getting them in the room and
Right.
that's my job.
And
That's
I
your
know,
job.
I know how hard that is. I book my own auditions. Like
for
I
you.
talk to all these people.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
know. I have an idea of what your job is.
Right, because you're doing it for
'Cause I do
yourself
it for
and good for
myself.
you.
but see, the other thing that is kind of rough for you is like you want them to be successful, but if they become ultra successful, then they fire you.
Right. And that's one of the reasons why I had to start I had to open up in LA.
Right.
Because back to my original story with falling in love with the actors, and this was 15 years ago, actors were saying, look, we're getting all of these auditions and we're getting great auditions, but they're hiring somebody that looks exactly like me from LA.
Right.
And they're giving me one line or no lines.
Fuck.
And so they were like, and I would, when I started out, Grubb, my mentor, he said, go to every performance you can. Go to theater, go see your actors, go find actors, go see live performances, go to all those 12, those 48-hour film festivals. He was like, go out and see everybody and find those people that are doing really good work. And it was, it was this thing where, why are they hiring somebody from LA that looks essentially has the same resume and that has the same look?
Right.
Everyone from LA is from Ohio or something anyway, so nobody's actually from LA.
No.
And so there shouldn't be some mystical, magical thing about paying somebody to fly to LA and put them in a hotel and pay for all of their meals and everything when we have this great pool here in New Mexico of people that can do a good job, but
Right.
for some reason we're sort of thought of as loosey-goosey hobbyist actors. This was 15 years ago.
Right.
So I said, okay, well, let's look at your stuff. I'm the AD and I'm doing the call sheet, but I'm like, I'm not your agent, but let me look at your headshots and your resume and all this stuff. And I think that there was like this misunderstanding about the whole process. The agent and the casting director and the producer and the director, everyone is running the actor through this gauntlet and staking their reputation on this actor. I stake my reputation on the fact that my actor will do a good job for you. And the casting director is saying, well, I've cast this actor before and I know, or I trust this agent.
Right.
If I don't know this actor, that they will do a good job and not embarrass me in my job.
Right.
And not embarrass you. And so, sometimes there's like 20 people that are involved or more, or a boardroom of suits that's involved in casting any one person in a role. And it's not just the local casting director down the street, or it's not the agent that's the gatekeeper. It's this huge line of people. And so, a lot of actors here in New Mexico didn't have updated headshots. They didn't even look like them. They didn't have any of their clips up.
I was literally at a bar last night and they were doing headshots in the hallway.
What? Why? What?
So
what?
that comedians could have headshots.
Oh my God. Well, that's better than
No,
you know what?
they were professionally done.
Okay, well that's better than most, and so if you've got you've got this guy that has been doing theater and he's got a black and white headshot from 20 years ago,
Right.
And now his hair is gray and he's gained a few pounds,
Yeah, it has
that
to be
actually
up to date.
it has to be up to date, and actually
It has to look like you. Your headshot is
right.
like,
It has to look like you,
it
how
has
you
to
look
look
right
like you.
now.
Yeah.
Right. And so there was this sort of misconception about what an agent does and what a casting director does. And so I was like, okay, well, if we wanna compete with LA, we actually have to be better than LA.
We have to be like them,
and we have to be better. So
we have to be the Japan to America.
Oh,
okay,
geez.
You created this, but we're going to do it better.
Right.
No, we have to out here.
So I was like, I'm not your agent, but I think you should get new headshots that look like you, and I think you should put clips of something you actually did up, so that people
and
can
that's
see
a
you
pain
talking.
in the ass. That is a
It
huge
is a
pain in
huge
the ass.
pain in the
is
ass.
finding all the things, all the times
Right.
that you were on TV, you
Right.
specifically, and
Right.
cobbling it together.
It's
That's
true.
and it takes forever.
It does, but that's kind of your business card.
That's your
Yeah.
job. That's your
Yeah.
fucking job.
right.
Part of
right.
the hustle is part of
How bad
acting.
do you want this? Is a
All right.
question that I ask a lot. Okay.
So, a number of years ago, there was a thing called UPublic here.
yes.
And they were like the public access,
Yes.
right? They called Billy and I. Billy was the co-host of the show at the time. They called us and they were like, "We want you to come in. We want to look. We've been looking at what you do, and we like it, and we want you to come in and we want to talk to you about it." Cool. We go, and this is where I wish I had an agent. And they were like, "All right, what do you think about doing your show live on UPublic every week?" All right. What do you think? They'd be like, it's the same show. You just can't say fuck or whatever. Okay. And this was like, I don't know. God, like
I was,
10,
I was,
it was
I
like
was pretty
10
new on it.
I don't even think you were on it. Yeah, you were.
I was just tech
It was
work
like
at that
10
point.
years ago, right?
Yeah.
So like technology was farther back then. So we go over to the studio downtown
On
by
First or Third
no, it was by Sister Bar.
Oh, yeah.
and Cake.
On Central.
Yeah. So we go up and we look at this like studio up there, and it looks like fucking a radio studio. And you put some cameras in it. It looks like it could look like Howard Stern. And I'm like, yeah, this could be cool. We're talking to this guy, and we're like, yeah, this is amazing.
Yeah, you guys came back all jazzed. I was
jazzed about it.
I
We're telling Smiley,
wasn't part of the tour.
we're like, dude,
but
you
they
should
were
have
like,
seen
"Oh,
this. I have pictures of it. Like I was like,
gonna look great.
has an arm on it like this, all this shit, right? And we literally could have went and we could have set up and we could have and we I was like and they were like, we want to bring in musicians and like you guys interview them very KEXP, if you ever watch that.
Yes.
And I was like, yeah, this is great. Cool. Leave there, everything's great. They're like, we have this open house we want you to come to. It's for people to sign up, but you guys aren't signing up. If we're all on the same page, this is a go. Cool. We show up to this, so Billy and I are like, oh, cool, let's go to that open house thing. Cool. We show up, and like the guy we'd been talking to is like, hey, glad you guys showed up. Let me introduce you to my boss. And we walk up to the boss, and he's like, hey, this is Chris and Billy. These are the guys. And the boss goes, oh, these are the guys. Nice. And he's like, let me tell you what we want to do. We got a studio downstairs. We want to put you in front of a green screen, like a basement. Very Wayne's World. And I like immediately
Like,
go, what the fuck is happening here?
Right.
Like this all just changed. And I listened to it, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not into that at all. Yeah, I'm not into that at all. And he's like, well, we'll have local bands on it. And I'm like, well, they showed us the studio upstairs. I like that. I would love to do more of a Howard Stern thing and like bring in the bands and like they can play and like we can sit and interview them. And he's like, well, we could also do that here in front of the green screen like it's a basement. And I'm like,
No.
the fuck are you talking about? No one here in Albuquerque is gonna watch that and go, this is dope as shit.
This looks like it's in a basement on Central.
This looks like it's fucking manufactured horse shit bullshit. So then we never hear anything again. All of a sudden this show comes out. They flew a guy in from Hollywood, this fucking like amazing looking model looking guy. Brought in like they filmed 8 episodes and they had all local bands on, which was kind of cool. and he would be like standing on the side, and it was very like TRL-ish, and but he was like sitting on a couch at some point, like it was Beavis and Butthead, and they did one season, and no one ever fucking watched it and gave a shit about it.
So you're like, well, dodge that bullet.
Dodge that fucking bullet.
Right.
I was like,
but here's the thing about my job and what you could have used is somebody to ask the questions.
Yeah.
Right. And know the questions to ask, and and be like, look, you probably would have a better product if you did it upstairs in this other studio thing, and you should probably trust what these guys are saying about what people might listen to.
what the word on the street is.
Right, because they've got their thumb on the pulse or whatever.
We're here for a reason.
Right, and you have some staying power because of it. And so those are the things that I have to know, in order to say, listen, you might want to think differently about this, or you might want to give these people a chance with their idea.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Sarah says, I could listen to you guys talk all dang day. This is such a great episode. I wish Sarah could be here.
Oh my gosh.
Sarah is in the middle of, Sarah Kennedy, our third judge, is right in the middle of Funny Fiesta. I went to Funny Fiesta on last night, and it was absolutely amazing. I bought a ticket. This is the first year I've been able to go. We've promoted that Fiesta for like years, and every time I'm out of town. I went last night, and it was unbelievably amazing. Like, the fact we have something like that here in this city, it was packed. The headliner was fucking off. First of all, I've seen a lot of local comedians. Every local comedian they had do that show last night. It was like a performance of an orchestra, right? Like, it started. It was a story. Like, every comedian got up, and each comedian was better than the last, and it just crescendoed perfectly into the headliner, because you don't want the openers to like be way better than the fucking headliner. And the headliner just murdered it at the end. Nice. And the crowd, I think, by the end, the crowd was like spent.
Like, I've never
emotionally.
Yeah,
yes.
I've been through something.
Yes.
That's so great. Well,
yeah.
Sarah and Kelly, I mean, I have to give them props. And I love that they have collaborated with Doug and Kristen at the Box. And I'm hoping that it's going to revive that little corner.
It seems like it's working.
And we're going to try to, I think Doug's trying to get the street, Second Street, Gold, between Second and First shut down for our second Saturday thing.
Oh, nice.
But
I've murdered way less people now than I usually do.
I love when we can elevate each other. When the combination of things makes everything better, and it doesn't diminish any one person, but it makes everyone better, and just delightful.
Yeah.
Sarah and Kelly are just so nice. We Cardboard Playhouse had a pancake breakfast this morning to promote Xanadu, which is happening in October. That's something I can promote because I'm the president of their board.
Why didn't you promote it earlier?
I should have, but we're doing Xanadu, which is an adult production.
Yeah.
Amazing 80s goodness.
Now, how are you roller skating in that small space?
No, it's going to be at Electric Playhouse.
Oh.
And we're bringing our own sound system in, and so I hope they don't. I think they might need Dramamine, to skate around with all the projections.
I don't know if you watch this show. Do you know they do a drag brunch at Electric Playhouse?
They do, yes.
And like they'll be walking across the floor on fire.
Right. And so there's like, we did Seussical there, and there was like grass and like truffula trees and all that. It was so much fun.
Huh.
But where was I going with this? Oh yeah, so the writers, we're having a writers thing at 11 o'clock today. So we made pancakes for all the writers that came to the Funny Fiesta today. And so there was this cool crossover between a children's theater and we've been going.
Doug Montoya says we've been going out of business on the corner for almost 18 years.
Poor guy. I mean, he's the little engine that could. He's so great at just keeping
Doug
going.
is one of the greatest people that I've ever known. And like I got introduced to him, I mean, as like most people in Albuquerque, through Tammy Epps,
right.
A good sign, who did this banner that's behind me and is one of the sponsors of this podcast in perpetuity. And I did Alma's show. I didn't even know what the fuck it was. I don't know anybody. And Doug goes, "Hey, will you judge this thing?" And I was like, "Well, if Doug Montoya is that, he's asking me, yeah."
He won't steer you wrong.
No. Well, I mean, there's so many. I mean, I don't owe Doug, but I owe Doug because Doug's a great guy, and Doug's always never steer me wrong. So when Doug's like, "Hey, will you do this?" Yes,
Absolutely.
because I know it's going to be something cool and fun, and then now it's part of my life. So
That's right. I look forward to it.
now I owe Doug more. Son of a bitch.
Well, Cardboard Playhouse Theater Company is one of the best theater companies in the town, in the state, and it's a children's theater. Yeah, and it's one of the only children's theaters that does not charge children to be in it. And so the playing field is leveled. It's not.
I'm sorry, what the fuck?
Yes, it's not about how much your parents can pay. It's about your audition.
That's disgusting.
And it will always be that way.
Good.
And my daughter was in it. I met Doug because he wanted me to sign his son when his son was 13, and he said and his son came to my office and liked that I had Legos and Star Wars in my office. And so I signed him. He said, "You should come Friday night. I have a children's theater, and you might see my son, and you might see some other kids that you might want to sign." And this was like 2 weeks into me being an agent.
Okay.
And so I took
You wanted to sign them all.
Right. Well, I took my 2 teenage daughters to the box, and it was Pirates of Penzance Jr.
Oh, wow.
And his son was the main character, Kelsey, who's now almost 30, but he was basically a Jack Sparrow type of character.
Okay.
Singing Pirates of Penzance. He carries a cardboard boat to
I
the
am
edge.
a modern...
Yes, well, it's not that song, but it's the beginning.
No,
song.
yeah. No.
And so, I'm a huge Gilbert and Sullivan nerd,
Okay.
so it was cool. So he carries this black cardboard box as he's singing into the box and plops it down, and then proceeds to pull 30 children out of the back of the boat and onto the stage.
Wow.
As he's singing, and all these kids are singing. That's the opening number. And my daughters are going, "This is the cutest boy we've ever seen in our lives." But I'm like, how did he just get 30 small children out of like a clown car, out of this box? And I was like, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen. The next show, my daughter was in it. I signed all those kids. Some of them I still rep, and some of them have moved away or in Broadway and are lawyers and stuff. But I was like, this is something that I've never seen before. And whatever minds are doing this are different. And my daughter went through it, and she went through it till she was 18, and now she's an occupational therapist. And I stayed. And so this is my main place where I find children to rep.
Yeah.
Because I can see.
I'm glad you said rep.
Yeah. Why?
You didn't say it was the main place I find children.
No, I find children. But here's the thing. What Doug and Kristen are doing with these children on stage is teaching them to make choices. It's teaching them to have self-esteem and have confidence in what they're doing. There's no adult backstage telling them to pick up their broom, or their prop or something. These kids are doing it themselves.
Right.
And then I get to see if the parents are crazy. Because that's a big thing. So I'm sort of known as
that's part of it.
Yeah, I'm sort of known as the agent that that really works with kids really well in town. And so not having crazy parents is pretty important.
I'll tell you this. So I grew up, and I had the dad that was like, "You're gonna play football. You're gonna play basketball. You're gonna play
baseball.
Baseball." And baseball I loved. Basketball I liked it. Football I did not. I didn't like play it. Now, as an adult, 100% I wish I could have done drama.
Oh yeah.
100% I wish I could have done drama. And in a lot of aspects, like I feel like it's something that, like, not only, like, in my life, the greatest thing I ever did was learn to be a public speaker. My mom was like adamant about like public speaking. My mom wanted me to be a politician. Like that was her dream for me.
Wow.
Was to literally be like.
Well, aren't you the king of Albuquerque?
The mayor. No,
He's
I'm
the
nothing.
mayor of downtown.
In my phone, you're the king of Albuquerque.
That's fun, and it's really weird because like people are like they're like, because I have no fear of public speaking at all, zero. And people are like, how is this? And I'm like, well, I learned at an early age to be a public speaker. And then when I went to college, my mom was also, there was two things. She's like, I want you to be in a fraternity because that's networking.
Right.
My mom was about networking. And so when you're in a fraternity, and there's all these movies that portray it in a negative light. There's a lot of really amazing things, and the big one is like learning how organizations work, and speaking in meetings, and speaking, and so like the way the meetings work for fraternities is like the older you are, the later on you get to speak, and if you're younger, you get to speak first. But then you're done. You don't get to speak again. You're done. So when I was young, I was like, well, I'm going to get up and I'm going to say the most profound fucking
Bam.
shit that I could possibly say to sway the vote my way. When I was older, I was like, I'll listen to what everyone has to say and then I'll stomp it down in one fell swoop. And it was so bad that people would want to fight me after the meetings. And it's all a performance.
Right.
And I was like, I wish I could have done drama when I was younger. And
I mean, there's kids that do sports and drama, and there's kids that just do sports, and there's kids that just do drama.
Oh yeah.
But one of the important things about doing theater and doing performance like that is that you have to listen to your fellow people, and you have to be in tune to them, and it's not just about you stepping out and doing your solo, and one of the things that you learn in the children's theater is being in the ensemble is the most important thing.
Yeah.
And
being
that's
a part of a team.
Being a part of the team and not, not learning how to pull focus, but being a part of things. And then,
I like that. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I think that everyone should do theater and everyone should do improv, or at least take an improv class, just for those very things, for listening, thinking, and
yeah, I still have to learn that.
Yeah.
I grew up in dance, so like being front and center is the easiest because you don't have to line up with everyone.
Right.
Oh, I missed that move. Whatever. I'm in the middle.
I'm the one.
No one.
I'm the one doing the other thing.
Yeah, I'm the one doing the other thing. But being part of the ensemble is like the hard one because you have to match.
You have to choreograph.
Know where everyone else is at. When you're the star, you can do what the hell you want.
Right. I love that. So I think that it translates really well into film and television for kids.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing about about theater and about doing film and television, and you might have learned this, is if the director doesn't say anything, you've done it right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
If you get no attention, it's because you were just perfect.
Oh, if the director's coming up to me, I'm a sweating ball.
Right, because if they start coming to you, they're like, how about we try it this way? But if they just ignore you and you just walk in and you do your thing and you're like, you did great, thank you, you're wrapped for the day, you're like, you never said anything to me. That's the best. That's what.
Yeah, and people don't get that. They're like, well, why didn't they say anything about me?
I had a gig on the night shift where I just played a day shifter. I came in for 4 hours, 4 days a week. It was the best act. Like, I was all paying my rent.
I love that.
And like, okay, like when we do the judging.
Yes.
Right? Like, are we a team? Yes. All three of us are a team. Are all three of us trying to outdo the other of the team? Yes. But the point of that is for the entertainment of the audience.
We're kind of performing as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
And like my friends were like, only one of my friends has ever shown up, and I kind of made a comment about it. She's like, well, I don't think people realize how much of a part of it you are. And I'm like, like when people go, oh, you're a judge on the AAA Cabaret, I'm like, yes, in the vein of like America's Got Talent,
right,
where we're front and fucking center, and we are part of there's a performance, and then there's a performance, and then there's a performance,
right.
And us three, we're all performing. We're all trying to we're all trying to stand out. We're all trying to be different than each other, but all in the same aspect, to entertain the person who took $10 out of their wallet on a Saturday night, Friday night. Hold on. They got a babysitter.
They drove down.
They drove down. They got dinner.
Yeah.
They told their coworkers, like, this weekend I'm going to go to this thing that's at the Box Theater. and then and then the next Monday they're gonna have to like tell their coworker how that
oh my
went.
God, this was so fun, right?
Right, and a lot of performers don't get that, you know, and when it like this is like the judge thing I get to do all the time, but it wasn't the first thing I've ever done, and like I've done judging for singer-songwriter competitions, and the thing that I don't like is that they'll like the two that I've done, they'll bring in people to judge that are like 21-year-old also in a band performer, and I'm like, these people aren't old enough or
Life
seasoned enough,
yeah.
and then everybody's like, well, who are you? You're not a musician. All right. So like the last time I did it, I'm at Marble Brewery in the Heights, and I'm judging a singer-songwriter competition, and they go, Chris, what'd you think? And I said, well, I just want to say right away, I'm not a musician at all. I'm a podcaster. I don't have any business even being here, other than the fact I buy tickets to shows. And with that, this is what I think. Because that's important. Because if the person doesn't buy the ticket and walk in the door, then Doug is finally out of business for 18 years. And it's important. Right. If the people don't go buy tickets to the movies, if the people don't pay for the streaming, it's over.
Right.
Right?
It's true.
It's over.
And there should be some respect to the people that have come to the shows.
Mm-hmm. And that's what the judge I am.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. Was I entertained? Maybe. This is what I would have liked to have seen.
Yeah. I think we add to it.
Yeah.
I definitely do.
Oh, I think it's fantastic. Yeah. Honestly, I say this every fucking time afterwards.
If I can ever get a Saturday off, I totally want to go.
I say this every show we do after. I go, it's the most fun thing I do. Even over this podcast.
It's a highlight of my month.
It's the highlight, sure. And I'm very disappointed I won't be at the next one.
Aw.
Very disappointed.
We should do a community thing and have you on an iPad on a little rolling thing.
I'll be out of it. Like I'll be with like Kevin Smith or fucking Jason Mewes.
Okay, name dropper.
I'll be
whatever.
Me and Shannon Elizabeth will be getting married somewhere. I dream.
You're gonna have fun.
I'll be all Shannon Elizabeth. I buy tickets, and if you want to get married, that's cool.
Oh, Shannon Elizabeth.
So, question.
Yes.
What are the hard parts of your job? The ones that are like awful.
The hardest part is the anguish and the desperation and the broken dreams and the you know the plight of the actor is really hard. You know, and it gets into some psychological places, you know, and there's a lot of self-sabotage that happens a lot of times where people are like, you know, I knew I just biffed it just because this was a huge opportunity for me, and I got scared, and you know, I just had to, I don't know, what's the sports analogy of like
I choked.
That's it.
I once did an entire audition in an Irish brogue. I'm not very good at that. I choked.
Why were you doing anything? I thought you were a background. I thought you were.
I got auditioned every year for Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul.
Okay.
I went in every year for those, and one year, I think like the third season of Breaking Bad, like I choked so bad. I went in. I didn't have anything prepared. I knew it was happening, and it was like self-sabotage. And it was like the first time I'd actually been called to be on the show, for an audition. And yeah, I went in and I just fucking did not do a great job.
As an agent, that has to be frustrating when you're like, this person is perfect, and they roll in and they just
yeah, and it's hard, but it's hard to see actors year after year after year that I mean, there shouldn't be anyone on my roster that I don't believe in.
Right.
And that, the magic happens. I believe that the magic happens when I love and believe in my actors, and that the team is right, and, and that everyone's doing their part, and communicating and things like that. But it's hard to see people that this is not a job where you can follow a formula.
No.
Like business or government or military, where it's like you start at the bottom and you work hard and you get, you work up the ladder, or you get more money, or you deserve it.
There's no guarantee.
There
for
is
advancement.
no guarantee. And so you have,
and it changes.
it changes constantly, and so it's really hard to stay optimistic, and to try to keep my actors optimistic, and I really appreciate my actors that actually tell me what they're thinking.
Yeah.
It's hard. We keep going back to Doug, but he's the one that tells me the actor, what's happening inside the actor head,
Okay.
and most of them won't, because they don't want me to think that they're unstable or something like
No,
that.
yeah.
But if one person is telling me it, that hundreds of people are
Yes.
thinking it.
Yes.
And so, and so if you look at actors' trajectories,
Okay.
and you look at their path, one of two things has happened. If you're watching a show and you're like, oh, that guy's pretty cool, I wonder what else he's done, and you go to IMDb, he's either done literally nothing
or
and
a
was
shitload.
or he's done every CSI Miami,
Yep.
every procedural, every, every 1 hour drama for 20 years. And it's like, that I was the slowest overnight success or whatever, and so people either get plucked out of obscurity and just go into the stratosphere really fast, and it's luck.
Right.
So you're in the right place at the right time. You had the right look. You were taller than the
18 years of overnight success.
Right.
Success.
And so, to help, to link arms with an actor and be like, I believe in you. Well, I haven't booked in 5 years,
Right.
or I've never booked, or and I'm like, well, all right, well, if you don't want to do this anymore, that's fine. I believe in you, but then I have to, every once in a while I have to go through the whole list and be like, okay, they haven't booked in 10 years. Here's the thing that people don't understand. I work for free.
What?
I work for free. I work on commission, right?
Right.
So I work for some people. I work for free for years and years and years, and I have to believe in them and hope that it's going to pay off at some point. Sometimes it never does.
No.
And sometimes it really does.
Have you had to fire people?
Yes.
How does that go?
So
Chris, can you come on in the room?
we need to talk.
Yeah.
Right.
Can you shut the door behind you?
So
Sally, we're gonna be in here for 30 seconds.
Right.
Yeah.
Get the tissues out. Well, so here's the thing. A lot of times you cannot tell somebody why you're firing them or terminating their representation, because there are lots of union rules about it, and there's a lot of like,
That's weird. She told me. No, I'm just
right.
It's
You're
you.
fired.
It's
Yeah,
everything
it's
about
not
it.
me,
Your
it's
face, your attitude.
Right. And
I don't like your face. Yeah.
so, you can't really tell somebody, your auditions are terrible because you're too desperate and you're trying too hard,
Right.
and you're acting too much,
Right.
well, I'm an actor. So usually I have to go back to this place where I say, look, I have submitted you, I have the list. I've submitted you 1,100 times in the last few years. You got 20 auditions.
Out of 1,100?
And you didn't book
That's
one.
That's how it
you
works,
know?
dude.
It's
That's
so
how
sad.
it
It's so
works.
sad. And so I have to say your ratio from submissions to auditions to bookings is not
Right.
sustainable for me
Yeah.
financially. Or, it's too much work for me for no payoff.
Your time is worth something.
Right.
To you.
Right.
And they're not reciprocating enough.
Right.
And I mean, maybe they are. I mean, have you ever had someone that's like busting their ass
Oh,
and they
yeah.
just are just not good?
Yeah. Yeah, and I like them as human beings.
Yeah.
You know, and people a lot of times will leave me and say, "I love you. I love your passion. I love
And he
your
runs
kindness."
a theater downtown. I don't want to say who it is. Not gonna say who it is.
You know, but they're like, "You're such a great person, and I love everything you're doing. But it's not personal; it's just business. I'm gonna go find another agent, you know, because you haven't performed for me, basically.
geez, yeah.
You know, and that hurts. It hurts when.
Have you ever had someone leave and then they become successful?
You know, sometimes I do look on their IMDb and I'm like, oh, really? The only things they ever booked was when I repped them, and they haven't booked anything. I'm like, oh, you know, they should have stayed.
So no one's like left and like exploded.
No, not really. Not
and
really.
they're like on entertainment. They're like, fuck
I have to
Carissa
say-
Mitchell.
I have to say, I am the luckiest girl in the world. Like, the people that I represent are great, and you know, I have to love them. I have to love them as people, and I have to love them not only for what they do, but then like take dear sweet Jimmy Ning. Do you remember Jimmy Ning
No.
from Breaking Bad? He was Mr. Chow.
Oh yeah,
He was the guy that got shot in the hand, right?
Yes,
That's right.
He was Chinese, and he had an accent, and he was this hunched, tired man. You know, he's passed away, but he was such a wonderful man, and he kept saying, "You should fire me." You know, you should fire me. You should fire me.
I like him right away.
I know. And I'd be like, but Jimmy, when I need an 80-year-old Chinese guy who's all hunched over and tired, I need you, you know? And he passed away a few years ago, and I still see things where I'm like, I wish Jimmy was still around, because I would say, I got a guy. I got a guy.
I've played a vampire bartender more than once.
I love
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
I
Because
can
they're
see
all-
that.
Because someone in the castings are like, oh, I know someone
Yeah.
who's perfect for that.
I can see that.
Oh,
Dude,
we gotta
he-
call him up.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay, I have to tell you about this. One of the Halloweens, like 2 years ago,
Yeah, it was your.
he dressed up as Bram Stoker's Dracula, the young
Yeah.
Dracula.
Yeah.
He walks into the launch pad, and he's like, "Hey, man, what's up?" And like, I'm one of those people that I know a lot of people, but
Right.
I don't remember everyone I met, and I'm like, "Hey,
What's up?
hey,
What's up, dude?"
hey, what's up?" And he's like, "How's the lineup tonight?" And I'm like, "Good." And he goes,
I was
"It's
like,
me, Smiley." I was like, "Oh my God, Jesus Christ!" I was like,
I sustained a very awkward conversation with him. I'm
You
almost like,
found out how all the mere mortals are around Chris Burnett, right?
"No."
and like his girlfriend at the time also did not recognize me. Like, who's this guy? They're like starting to shuffle
Dude,
away.
he's got a picture
Like,
of it.
so good to see you.
Yeah, great. Yeah.
Nice to see you.
That
Nice to see you.
proceeded the entire night because I was staying in character and like I went to like other people's parties and
Yeah.
I apologized. I was like, I was so rude to you. I thought you were some weirdo.
Oh my
Yeah,
god,
dude, I was like,
that's a good
I can get into character.
I was like, it's a good lineup, I think, sir.
Sorry. Unknown gentleman.
Unknown person. But I mean, that, you know, you're like, you have to be. Do you remember everyone? Like people come up to you and they're like, "Hey, Carissa," and you're like, "Oh, hey," you know their
Pretty
name.
much. My kids
Are
are always
you
like
serious?
My kids are always like, you know everyone, and you know everyone's name, and you know a little bit about
How do you
them.
remember
I'll
all
be
those?
like, how's your son in kindergarten? And
This is
you know,
why Chris puts me in front of him for customer service. Oh
Are you-
no, here
are
comes
you-
a fan.
are you?
Smiles, you talk to
I'm
him.
kind of basically Tony Hale in VIP. You know,
Yeah.
the guy that's whispering in her ear and saying,
Yes.
she's, you know, this
And
is
Veep.
Yeah, Veep. What did I
Oh
say?
my
VIP.
God.
I said
Yeah,
I meant Veep.
okay.
Or
Are you
in Devil-
rewatching? Are you rewatching that?
Oh
right
my
now?
god, it's so good. But what was the British one before that
never
Armando
saw it.
Artucci did?
Is it good?
Yes, it's different. It's
I'm not
different.
aware.
What's it called?
Have you watched Veep?
Oh my god.
I watched the first season and then
Oh, God damn.
then I didn't have.
Oh,
but Armando Artucci
That's
did it
so good,
did
yeah.
it in Britain first.
yeah.
And it was masterful. But Tony Hale,
Tony Hill from here. He's from here.
so great.
He's so great, and
so-
okay. So back in the day, that was Billy. Billy was my
Your bag
Tony
man.
Hill.
Yeah, Tony
I would
Hill.
be like, "Oh my God, it's so great to see you." And Billy would be like, "That's blah blah. You met them." And Billy would say, "You met them." He would tell me where I met them.
Yeah.
And I am so, and it's not that I don't care about people.
Right.
I just my memories like.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
I was with my granddaughter at the grocery store.
So it's good to know that you're that way. I'll be
and
like,
I'm like,
Carissa,
"Hi,
who
Ian.
is that?"
How's your baby? Or how did it go on set? Or just all like, I just have to bring up one thing, and
Yeah.
then and it's genuine and it's real, but it also makes them feel like I know them,
yeah.
But it's other people. It's it's not just my actors. It's that's probably my superpower.
Okay.
Yeah,
I wish it was mine.
And it helps when I'm submitting people because I can be like, well, I know
okay.
that person roller skates or skateboards downtown. So
Well, that makes sense. Yeah.
I know
They're like,
I know that they're
we need
mountain
a
bike.
white guy that's got his, blonde hair and he skateboards. You're like,
Right.
I know Tony Hawk.
Right. But I have to know people's what they're doing with the rest of their life. And by the way,
Mhm.
what makes a better actor is somebody that has other interests besides acting.
Yeah.
So that
Who's
makes
the
me-
most famous person that you know?
that I know?
Yeah.
Probably Zachary Levi.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
And
I was in El Paso and he was doing a Comic-Con
Yeah.
and we didn't actually get to like. It was weird. Like I got to talk to everyone else and they had an entourage around him.
Yeah.
It was
yeah,
weird.
Yeah.
I did. Here was the surrealness of that whole weekend. I was in the green room, and I had a conversation about car racing, and for 45 minutes, and I was really into it. And I walk out of the room, and I was like, I think I just talked car racing with Sean Patrick Flannery and John Snyder. So
Nice.
Bo Duke and I were talking.
Cars.
12-year-old Chris
It was
was freaking out that Bo Duke and I were like talking about car racing,
That's so amazing.
and I
Well,
didn't get to talk to Zachary Levi.
Oh, geez. Well, the cool thing is the best people are the ones that, I mean, I met him through a friend who's actually my assistant in LA
Yeah.
right now, and she was in casting, and she knew him socially, and I would go visit her. She's from
Yeah.
Albuquerque.
Okay.
And I would say I met him 3 or 4 times within the span.
He looks great.
Oh yeah,
by
he's
the way.
had some demons that he's fought, but
Yeah.
but I would see him like every 6 months. He would remember my name. He would give me a kiss on the cheek. He would ask me something about myself that he remembered from the last conversation.
Oh, that's where
and
I saw
so-
him. I saw him like literally this year.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's but for him to have remembered me and a little something about me
Sure.
was so cool,
Yeah,
and like that's a real person. And it might be an act, but it didn't feel like an act. It felt like he genuinely
Right.
cared about me, and he wouldn't, and so I've actually taken some of that,
Right.
to my own thing. Everybody wants to be recognized. Everyone wants
Yeah.
to be heard. Everyone wants to be asked questions about themselves, and so you can ask people questions and they'll talk about themselves for 15 minutes and then they'll say, she's really cool, she's really nice, and I didn't say anything about myself, I just asked some questions.
Right.
And they think I'm cool because I was listening to them,
Right,
so
right.
it's a little contrived, but it's also
No,
genuine.
it's genuine, and
Yeah.
like I always hate like I met such and such and they were a dick, and I'm like, and when I was growing up, I'd be like, oh, that's too bad, and that sucks, and then you get that like thing, and then like doing all the things I do, you realize like, well, no, people are people,
Right.
and they have a rough day, or they're like trying to just eat ramen
Right,
or
right.
whatever, and like someone comes up and they're like, hey, blah, blah.
Right.
And maybe you're in the middle of a intense conversation with your ex or your girlfriend at the time, and you're like,
Right.
and it's a situation. Like
Yeah,
sometimes
yeah.
think about,
I just took my littles to Disneyland a couple weeks ago, and one of the
when you say little, you mean like grandkids?
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
I was like,
those
what
are the
the fuck?
littles, yeah. And one of the biggest Disney influencers was sitting next to us.
Oh, okay.
At the Tropical Hideaway eating Dole Whip, right? And I was like, I think that's Megan the Millennial.
Oh, okay.
And,
Yeah.
And I was like,
who that is, yeah.
Do you?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. And she just got married. We went on a Run Disney weekend. We weren't running, but I was like, I think that's Megan the Millennial.
Okay. Yeah.
And she was with her, looked like her mom, and they were eating food, like eating.
Yeah.
And I knew she was getting married the next weekend because I follow her. And so I just leaned over and I said, I just want to say hi, Megan. I just want to say I really enjoy what you do and congratulations on getting married and thank you for what you do. And she's like, at first she was mortified and she had a mouthful of food, right? And she was oh shit, like, do I have to be on? You know, she was like,
yes.
She was like, I'm
Yeah,
so sorry. I'm so
yeah.
sorry. And she's like trying to chew her food. And I'm like, it's okay. I don't even want a picture. I just wanted to say hi. You know, and thank you, you know. And she was like, oh my God, thank you so much. Thank you. You know, and she was like, that means a lot to me, you know, and she's like, I got a mouthful of food here, you know, and I was like, I just want to say hi. You know,
I'll tell you,
it was cool.
People are like, I don't get starstruck. I've met a lot of people, met a lot of famous people. And people are like, well, who would you get starstruck by? Well, I've been starstruck once. One time. I know. We've gone long, and but I'm really enjoying this.
Me too.
I've been starstruck once. One time. Our friend Tammy from A Good Sign was like, "Hey, I've got tickets to this show at the award ceremony at the Chemo. It's for Giancarlo Esposito from Breaking Bad." And I was like, "Oh, that's cool. Right on." And I didn't meet him. That's fine. I was like, cool. Yeah. She's like, no one wants to go. I was like, well, fuck, I'll go. Fuck that. I'll go to that shit. Because again, people don't understand networking. Seeing and being seen and talking and meeting and, you know, oh yeah, this is who I am and this is what I look like and, you know. And we're headed to the thing and I was like, cool. This is cool. Like, you know, cool thing. Who's giving the award? Robert Redford.
Good.
I'm sorry, what? Robert Redford is giving the award to Giancarlo for okay. I'm gonna be in the same fucking room as Robert, like the star.
Right.
Not a movie, not an actor. Not a performer. The fucking star, Robert. Okay. So she's like, yeah. So Robert Redford comes out and he fumbles through a speech, isn't very good at it.
Phoned it in, probably?
No.
Or just...
He's like, I'm not really good at these things. They brought me out, and he's like, this guy is amazing, and I just want to bring him out. And then we're in the Chemo, and there's the first row of seats, and then there's that space in between,
the walkway,
and then the second row of seats.
That's where the mayor sits, right?
I was in the second row of the second seats. So I'm
Which is literally the best seat in the house.
Well, and I'm thinking like, well, we're far back because we got the crap seats, and the front row is empty. Robert Redford walks down from the stage. They helped him down a little bit because he's old, and he sat in front of me.
What?
I could have touched his head. Like,
oh my God.
All I had to do was reach out and could have touched him.
Oh.
And I don't know what happened the rest of the evening.
Because you were like...
I blacked out because Robert fucking Redford was right there.
Right.
The greatest baseball player that ever lived. The guy from The Sting. The Sundance fucking kid was sitting right there. And Tammy's like, you have no fear. You should go up and talk to him. I was like, fuck you.
I found the chink in my armor.
I will not go talk to Redford. Then I did the dumbest fucking thing I could have ever done. I told my mom all about it.
And I'm sure she had huge crush on
my mom was irate.
You didn't talk to him?
No. That is not why she was irate.
Oh, it goes beyond that.
She goes, you did what? You saw Robert Redford. And I was like, yes. Did you know you were going to see Robert Redford? I was like, yeah, a little bit. Why didn't you tell me you were going to see Robert Redford? I could have driven there.
I would have driven.
And I'm like, okay, I did not know this was a fucking thing, right? Like, I'm like, okay. She's like irate that I did not tell. Like probably still pissed right
How
now.
dare you?
Like
So,
you
why are you
fucking
bringing that up, Chris?
you piece of shit. Like literally, she talked to me like you piece of shit. You knew you were gonna survive, but you didn't tell me. You know.
Oh man.
It was, but that was a a lot of people. I'm like, I'm excited to see them. There's a lot of people I want to see. I'm excited to see Kevin Smith.
Yeah,
Big
that'll
fan.
be cool.
But
Huge
like,
fan.
but Robert Redford, there's something about that level. It's different. I don't know what it is. Does it make sense? I don't know how to make sense.
Well, I think
about
it's
that.
because I think you hit it when you said he's a star.
He's a fucking star.
No, like a legend, dude.
A legend.
Right.
Jesus. And he lives in Santa Fe.
Right.
Him and Gene Hackman. I don't know what the fuck.
The one time I got starstruck was at it was Michael Caine. And
I
I had to, like,
Jesus.
in my
Fuck,
head,
dude.
I was like, I don't seriously believe this guy exists.
He did that movie,
guy's been a
the
movie-
Hand, right? The Hand. No, just kidding.
Yeah, this guy's been a movie star since before I was
Yeah.
born. He's
Yeah,
always
yeah.
been Michael
Yeah.
Caine.
Yes.
Okay.
And I was supposed to go wait
Yeah.
on his table, and I was like, can't do it. Someone else has to do this. I can't do this.
Oh
Other
my
people
God.
like that would be like Christopher Walken. And
Oh my goodness.
And I
Smiley
think-
waited on Christopher Walken.
He's super
Wow.
cool.
Smiley's like, what kind of
That guy's
soup do you
super
want?
cool.
He's like, I don't know.
Yeah. So what
What's the soup
restaurant
of
do
the
all the
day?
big people come to here?
Oh, that
now?
was I was at the Hyatt Regency.
Oh, okay.
So at that point in time,
Now
I
it's
think
Los Poblanos.
it
or
was
something.
the
Is that right? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's where it is now. But at the time, that was like one of the only.
Jeez.
Like,
So
nice
I honestly
hotels.
think this is part one. We have to do another
Oh my gosh!
episode.
Please bring me back. I love this so much.
I think here's the thing. I love it. This is something I was glad you were like, I'm terrible at like this booking part of it. And people are like,
I'm not great at it either. Actually,
no,
This
we
is,
neither one of us are good at it. But like when people
I'm good with
the right
sponsors.
people nudge me all the time. When the right people nudge me, I'm like, oh, absolutely, this is a no-brainer, and you're a no-brainer.
Oh.
And I love to do I love that you're part of the cabaret.
Yes. Fun.
And I want you to not think, I want you to know, like literally, you stole two of my things. You didn't steal them. You were there first. I was like, God dang it. She's so good. I feel like you and I are like trying to keep up with Sarah half the time.
Yeah.
Because Sarah is like, she's
next level brilliant.
Yeah.
I mean, you are too, but it's so great.
she was like in New York, like kicking ass and, yeah. But like you are legitimately the one person that like the people there should be trying to impress. You know what I mean?
I love it. Well, I mean, it's fun. The bonus is that I get to be your friend. And you get to be my friend.
We're friends. We're
Yes.
absolutely friends.
Yes.
Now, what I want to happen, not from you, not from Smiley, I want the people listening to this show to message in and say, like, you should have asked this, this, and this. This is what I'd like to know for the next one.
Time.
And we'll do another one. We'll do another one
it.
soon. We'll do a part 2. And I love doing a part 2 because like I feel like we've got a lot of things out of the way. We can go into more. We can have a little more fun.
By the way, I don't think that stuff was very strong.
Oh, it's not.
It's not.
Okay, because I was afraid. I was like, oh no, am I gonna like?
It's like a liqueur.
No,
Yeah,
it's
okay.
literally, what is it?
Okay, so it not only does it taste
35%?
terrible,
30%?
but it doesn't really have an effect on you.
It's 35%.
Why
yeah.
are we drinking it?
Why?
Why?
Did you see the hilarious faces we all made?
Yes. When
I was
you
the
guys
one-
were sitting here waiting for me to like. You're like, give it a second.
Yeah. Because she did the thing. She did the face where she goes, "That's not bad."
You're like, hold
And
on.
here, let me do it for you. Here's this. It's not bad, and then it hits. They go,
Oh.
Yeah, I could, and then it just keeps coming.
Oh, and you're like,
I
this is
tear up.
nasty.
I tear up every time.
he does. I'm immune to it at this point. It's fucked my. I can't taste food at this point. Yeah. But I'm getting Smiley. We're doing our reps because we're gonna go to Chicago. We're going to the distillery.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
we're going to the-
okay.
We're going
Oh,
to
how
the
fun.
Malort distillery,
Oh, well, I'm gonna have to live vicariously through you on that one.
and we'll They know about my tattoo.
Oh,
They've
my
seen
God.
it. They've seen it. Ming also has one. Ming and I both have
Oh, my
Malort
God.
tattoos. Yeah.
Have you ever been to like the Jack Daniel's distillery? And, oh my God, it's fun. It's fun because they're like in a dry county.
Yeah, bourbon
And
can.
it's not bourbon.
No,
No,
bourbon.
it's,
And you know, like
Tennessee whiskey.
Tennessee
Yeah.
whiskey, and you take your hat off and put it on your heart. You know, it's like
oh.
I work in the liquor industry as
Oh,
well.
okay. It's so fun if you ever get down to Kentucky or wherever it is. Yeah. Anyway, I
Tennessee.
cannot tell you how fun this has been. This has really been great.
Good. I'm
Another highlight of my month.
Same.
Yes.
Same. So we're gonna have Carissa Mitchell back on soon. We have the month of October completely booked up.
I'm sure.
So maybe
we're
December.
Busy.
Let's
We're so busy.
let's look at December
Yeah.
because you get into
Holidays.
the holiday fucking months. December is a cake month for me because I work for the government.
And they shut down between. Yeah.
I
To
think
save
my
money.
mom's gonna be in town through December.
Yeah. Actually, here's
That'll be an interesting month.
weird idea. We usually have 3 people on this show,
We do.
and we've been bringing in guest co-hosts. Would you guest co-host some shows?
100%.
Fucking A. Done.
Hell yeah.
I have lots of questions.
Dude,
I always have questions
dude,
for
I
people.
like that. I like that.
So during the pandemic, we did a trivia show.
Yeah, I watched it.
Yeah, and my only job was to get drunk and ask my co-host questions that just let him go. It was
Yes.
great. It was great.
Well,
Yeah.
Well,
that's pretty much this show.
you may have found your.
Well, I think I
Come
might
on over
actually
here.
enjoy that more than being a guest, which I have enjoyed 1,000%.
Right.
I would love that.
Awesome. Very cool.
Yes. Thank
All
you
right.
so
Well,
much.
it's been a pleasure.
Oh my gosh.
Very much so.
Oh
every
my.
second Tuesday. And when I say that, I don't mean like every 2 Tuesdays. I mean the second Tuesday of each month. Carissa and I are both
Saturday.
Saturday.
Oh yeah, you were saying Tuesday.
I'm sorry, Saturday.
Saturday.
Every second Saturday of each month.
I thought you were talking about something else.
I know.
I'm
I
all-
was like,
Because
what is he pushing now? Because I don't remember doing
because I had to
anything on the
explain.
second
So,
Tuesday.
because I brought it up and someone's like, "Oh, so you did it last Saturday? So you're doing it next Saturday?" I'm like,
No,
"No,
second of the month.
because there's first Fridays, which is the art walk.
Yeah.
Everyone remembers that somehow.
But not
First Friday's got it.
Saturday.
Well, when you say second Saturday, everything's like every 2 Saturdays. It's not. It's the
That's like biannually.
Yeah, it's not
or-
by yeah.
no. It's the second Saturday of the month at Dry Heat Comedy. Oh, she said second. Sarah says second Tuesday is when our chess club meets. That's true. Sorry,
I love it. Also, I have to say that you wear some really cool jackets.
I do.
And I try to up my wardrobe game as well. So
Is that
there's
fair?
some fun stuff.
Well,
Yeah.
do you want to know the story behind that?
Yes.
Real quick?
Yeah.
Okay. So there's a picture over there I showed you earlier
Yeah.
of Jimmy the Mouth of South Heart from
Yes.
wrestling.
Yes.
Right? And I'm one of those people that, I'm 49 years old and I've been around for a long time, but like I am not afraid to learn a lesson and be taught exactly.
You mean you have a teachable spirit?
I do.
Wow, that's rare. That's
And
cool.
I was doing his panel, and I don't care if you like, dislike, or love an industry. If someone's been in it and made money and performed in it for their forever, the guy's like 80 something
I
years
remember him
old,
from when I was a kid, man.
and he's been the manager for Hulk Hogan, for like the Heart Foundation, for like all these different people, right? And honestly, you see all the pictures.
Yeah.
If there's a picture on the wall, that's somebody I've done a panel for.
Amazing.
That's the best.
Oh my God.
That was the number one person I've ever done a panel for. And we had just started the wrestling in Albuquerque, and we maneuvered in, and we're like, we're going to do the, I had been doing the wrestling panels already. And they went up to him and they were like, "Hey, can we put our wrestling poster next to your booth?" And he was like, "Oh, absolutely."
Uh-huh.
He was like, well, "Absolutely would." And we're like, "Well, we're gonna do the panel for you." And he's like, "Awesome." And guy's like 80 years old. We have a table for him. We have chairs for him. he shows up and we're like, Jimmy, here's your table chair. He's like, no, man, I'll stand up. Stands the entire time
Nice.
for the entire hour. Me and the guy doing the panel introduce him, and he's like, all right, let me tell you about my life. And he starts talking about his high school life and how he went to school with Jerry the King Lawler. But then
This is the best part.
he started a band called the Gentrys, and they did a song called I Keep on Dancing,
Oh.
which was a hit.
Yeah.
I keep on dancing now, da-na-na-na-na-na-na,
Yeah.
baby. And like I knew it from the Teddy Ruxpin commercial, right?
I worked at a 50s diner.
Yeah,
Oh,
and,
so you-
and
So
so
I heard
yeah,
it a
and
lot.
so he was they were a charting hit band.
Oh my God.
Well, Jerry the King, he tells a story about how Jerry the King Lawler and him went to high school, and Jerry the King Lawler called him and said, "You know music, can you come back and help us with the entrance music for the wrestlers?" Because that's when they started to integrate that, right? And that's how he got into pro wrestling. So then somebody goes, one of the fans goes, why do you always wear such colorful jackets? And he goes, all right. He's like, well, that's a good question. He's like, I was on tour with the Gentrys and we were on stage. He's like, our tour was us, Steppenwolf, the Beach Boys, and Dick Clark,
What?
right?
Wow.
And Dick Clark, one of the shows, he wore a t-shirt and jeans. And Dick Clark walked up to him and said, hey, if you look like the audience, pretty soon you'll be in the audience.
Ooh.
And he says this to this fan. And I'm standing on the side and I'm like,
Huh.
God damn, that is good.
Yeah.
That is
Yeah.
really good. And that's old school talking. And he's like,
Yeah.
so I knew. He's like, I had to step up my game. And in wrestling, he was like, I'm on screen. I got to be, So that's kind
I
of
love
part
that.
of it.
And now you have the white glasses. But, the boring way to say it is dress for the job you want, not the one you have,
Well,
right?
the white
But-
glasses is a whole nother story.
Oh, well.
I'll tell you that off the air. I
Okay.
told it on the show, but
You've told me the story before. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. But anyway.
Everyone thought I was someone else,
Yeah.
and I was like,
No.
it's branding.
Yeah.
You know,
absolutely.
you understand.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
understand.
Yeah.
So, what a pleasure this
Oh
has
my
been.
gosh.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Enjoy
agreeing with
doing the cabaret with you,
Yes.
and I would love to bring you back and do this podcast, and I would love for you to co-host as well.
I will be here. You just ask and I'll be here. This is great.
Well, I just did.
And I got to meet you too. So that's wonderful.
So here we go.
Yeah.
And you guys fire in some questions, and we will have those ready for Carissa the next time, because I know questions in my heart that I didn't ask that I wanted to ask.
There was a couple I missed, yeah.
Yeah,
Aw.
and we just can't go all night. I mean, we could, but we
Probably
can't.
could.
But
Yeah.
she's got to go babysit.
I know.
But it's been a pleasure.
Thank
and
you.
Thursday night, September Rain, El Rey Theater, pro wrestling.
Whoa.
Come out, man. Everybody there's very little negative energy
I like
towards.
that.
It's just
Everyone loves
we
it.
have new belts. The belts we had, I liked them, but the new ones are amazing.
Are you talking about like the ones that like you show when you've won?
Yeah.
And they're like
Yes.
gold.
We got
and-
new ones.
Okay.
And I mean, we got a guy from Philly,
Oh.
and he made them, and he came in. He drove from Philly 26 hours to be at the last show.
Oh my God.
And our tag team belts, I have to tell you about these. This was partially my idea. They are the red and green tag team belts.
Nice. Christmas.
The roots, they're Christmas.
Yeah.
One's red, one's green, and I want them to the first people that win it, somebody from Texas, and they just crap all over.
Oh man.
Because everybody's like, "Fuck you! You son of a bitch!"
I've got
Chili
the
with an
green
eye.
Chili belt.
Yeah.
Whatever that means.
Yeah. And I'll tell you a story off the air.
Love it.
Yeah, but super good. So come out. Almost AAA Cabaret. You
Yes.
got it. If you have never been, here's the problem: it sells out.
It
Buy
does.
those fucking tickets.
Yeah.
It is
Yeah.
one of the hottest tickets
Right.
in
And then right
Albuquerque.
before that is the show does their blue show.
Yeah.
Which is, for mommies and daddies and adults.
Come out for the entire night.
Yeah. It's fun. And
3
Hollow Spirits is there.
Is it 3 hours? 4 hours.
Well, there's open mic.
Yep.
And then there's the Blue Show.
Yep.
And then
it's about 4 hours.
Yeah. And there's food truck and Hollow Spirits.
That food truck is
oh my god, legit. The Reuben sandwiches, SIBO. Oh.
I've never had the Reuben. I've always had the meatball sub.
No, the Reuben.
And then
Reuben egg rolls.
I had what?
Yeah.
I'm having that. I had a cold Italian sandwich the other night. It was exactly what I wanted.
That's so good.
You're perfect.
God almighty. Anyway, this is the food cast.
Right.
I'm gonna let you go.
Thank
you for being on the show.
So much fun.
You'll be back.
I will.
You'll be back.
I'll be back.
Smiley, thank you.
Oh, as always.
If you're in Chicago, come out and hang out with us.
Have the best time.
Give me legitimate, like, actual recommendations for food, not joke ones.
Dude, Smiley, don't even.
I
take
know.
it.
We're probably
don't take no.
Pizzeria Uno, no.
Portillo's, Alice beef.
Geno's East.
Yeah, we'll have it. We'll eat all that.
Right.
And there's some really good restaurants in Chinatown.
Yeah.
Too.
If you haven't noticed, I don't really indulge
Someone's
in
like
eating very, so this is a very much eating vacation.
Someone was like, you guys aren't really even going to be in Chicago. I was like, we'll be in Chicago. Don't you worry.
I want to take the L train again.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fun.
I was going to say the Cubs could be playing at that point, but if we can afford to go.
We'll see.
It'll be expensive at that point because it'll be playoffs. But thank you, Carissa.
Thank you.
Thank you, Smiley.
Thank you.
With that, we are
10 drink minimum.